IB Nation, welcome to a special edition of the Irish Breakdown Podcast. I'm Brian Driscoll. That's Sean Davis, Lucky Lefty. Sean, we're ready to go, man. You and I were on the phone for about, 20 minutes, just fired up. And I was like, you know what? Let's go live. Sean was like, Sean, ever the instigator, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Look, just to give y'all a heads up, if y'all are looking for a conversation about who the candidates are, where do we go from here, we'll have that conversation. We'll have that rational conversation. We'll break it all down. That'll be tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to tell you what happened, what we know, and we're going to give you our honest feelings. We're going to be a little fired up. I'm just letting y'all know we did not vent all of our frustrations to each other on the phone. We have a lot more teed up because, Sean, basically what happened tonight is just inexcusable, in my opinion, for an institution like Notre Dame. So what is the latest? Notre Dame, as you all know, identified Andy Ludwig from Utah as their candidate for the offensive coordinator position. I felt it was a grand slam. Ryan felt it was a grand slam. Malik, I believe you said, felt it was a grand slam. You came around to realize that this would be a great hire at Notre Dame as well. Everybody I've talked to in the coaching profession said it would be a phenomenal hire. Andy Ludwig interviewed. Things went extremely well. But at the end of the day, Notre Dame knew what the buyout was coming in, from what I understand, and they thought that they could kind of negotiate it down, and Utah didn't budge, nor should they have budged. And so Notre Dame passed. And so instead of Notre Dame going out and hitting an absolute grand slam home run, they refused the buyout. And now Marcus Freeman, I won't say Marcus Freeman starting over from scratch, because I think Marcus Freeman's smart enough to know that you still have to have some people on the board. But, Sean, no matter who they bring in next, barring some miracle of some guy that's an even bigger name than Andy Ludwig decides he wants to come to Notre Dame, the reality is no matter who they bring in, no matter how talented that coach may be or how good we may think that's going to be, the optics of this are terrible. The message that this sends to Marcus Freeman is terrible. The message that this sends to the Notre Dame faithful is we're not going to spend the money that you all know that they could raise, right? And to make this kind of move, Sean. And that's the reality of the situation. That's what happened. I have talked to several sources about this. This isn't us just responding to the Pete Thamel tweet. First of all, Pete Thamel is one of the few, I'd say, real reporters left in college football. Him, I think Heather Dinich both do a really good job. When they report something, that they've sourced it out. And then we have also sourced it out. I've talked to several people tonight. I feel very comfortable in saying this is basically how it went down, that Notre Dame refused to pay the buyout for the coach that Marcus Freeman very clearly identified as the guy he felt could get Notre Dame to the next level. So, Sean, I'm absolutely disgusted, and I think this sends a bag. And so I'll say this, Sean, I'm going to kick it to you. If you don't want to get into the NIL pay-for-play stuff, I'm with you. I've said that. I'm with you. You don't want to get into we're lowering our academic standards and all this stuff because of who you are as an institution. I'm with you. If you're going to tell me that you are all about the student athletes, but your cheap butts are not willing to pay a buyout of $2.8 million is what it's alleged. It's $2 million plus some taxes, I guess, is what is being reported. If you're not willing to pay that to make sure that these players have the best possible coaching staff they could have, that's an embarrassment. That's an absolute embarrassment. Stop telling me that you care about winning a championship. Stop telling me that you care about the players, because if you're not willing to give them what the head coach, the guy that you hired, believes is going to give them the best chance to be successful, a guy with an incredibly proven track record at some very good schools as far as academic schools. He's been at Vanderbilt. He's been at Wisconsin. He's been at some places like that. You're going to tell me that you care about championships when that's what you're doing? You're going to charge what you're going to charge for ticket prices and for concessions and to sit up in the nice suites and for parking and all those type of things. I had to pay $200 to get 2 parking passes in the stadium lot to do a tailgate last year. But you can't afford to pay a buyout for an offensive coordinator from Utah. And why would Utah bow out, go down on their asking price? You're trying to poach their coach.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my question is, where was the buyout for Tommy Rees? Where's the money you should have got from? So are you telling me the AD at Utah is that much better of a contract negotiator and builder and creator than Jack Swarbrick? I'm disgusted right now, Sean. And if I'm Marcus Freeman right now, I'm pissed. Now, you and I both know Coach Freeman. That's not how he's going to react. Hey, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to charge forward. That's who Marcus Freeman is. He's not an excuse maker. I don't work for Notre Dame, though. I'm not beholden to protecting my bosses publicly. I'm my boss. You're your boss. So we're going to tell you exactly what it is. And this is an inexcusable thing for Notre Dame to do. Absolutely inexcusable for them to not be willing to make this move to support their head coach. Absolutely inexcusable, Sean. No, just that's it. I mean, it's a joke.
I'm going to start right here, Brian, because I think everything you said was spot on. I want to look right into the face of all the Notre Dame fans that are watching, that will watch, and I'm going to flat out tell you, you've been taken for granted as a fan base. This is absolutely the last straw. You were taken for granted during the Brian Kelly era. Certain things that Brian Kelly said, and I'm not the biggest Brian Kelly fan, but he's been vindicated on tonight.
About the spending what you need to spend. Yes.
Absolutely. He's been vindicated tonight. Absolutely. But this university has taken for this fan base for granted. They know you're loyal. They know you continue to support. No matter whether or not a national championship shows up, hasn't shown up since 1988. They still know you're going to fill the stadium. Even if you don't fill it, you're going to sell the tickets on the second market. So the stadium's going to be filled. They know it's the best brand going in college football. They know all of this. They know they're about to get a mint in a new apparel deal. They know they're about to get a mint in a new TV deal. They don't need to win. They're cool being 9-4.
Right. Because they know you will still show up. You'll still pay $100 to watch them play freaking Bowling Green.
Absolutely. They know that they're cool being 9-4 and winning the Gator Bowl. They're cool. We're the ones that go through the ups and downs. Mm-hmm. We're the ones that go into the roller coaster emotionally all the time. We're the ones pulling for this team, supporting this team, paying the ticket prices, paying to park. And this is what we get for it. This is what we get for our fandom. The unwillingness of a university sitting on a mint that's unwilling to pay $2 million of a buyout to that head coach that has identified this candidate as the best candidate to replace Tommy Rees and to elevate the offense.
Who you said you were willing to match whatever Alabama did to keep Tommy Rees, who's been an offensive coordinator for 3 years. And this isn't a shot on Tommy Rees at all, Sean, but you just said you were willing to match $2+ million salary to keep Tommy Rees on board for a guy that has a significantly better dude put up 8 more points per game at freaking Utah than what Notre Dame did this year. Utah, back-to-back Pac-12 champs, curb stomped USC. And you're not willing to pay that dude. By the way, do you remember the beatdown this cat was the OC for when they handed Alabama back in the day? Right? Proven track record. You're willing to pay Tommy Rees top dollar to keep Tommy Rees. Again, not a shot on Tommy. But you're not going to do this, Sean? You're not going to pay this? Come on, man.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Everything that we believe as a fan base about Notre Dame on shaky ground tonight.
Yeah.
Everything. The 4 for 40 is on shaky ground tonight. The recruiting pitch is on shaky ground tonight. Being elite in the classroom and on the football field is on shaky ground tonight. But show me the fruit. Show me the fruit as a university that says you want to be elite on the football field. Show me. Show me. I haven't seen it.
It's this. It's all this, Sean. It's words. That's all it is right now. Words. Words. How are you going to look these players in the face, Sean, and say, hey, we're going to do whatever we need to do to give you the resources to be successful, unless it requires too big of a buyout. For a dude that made $820,000 last year at Utah. So it's not like you got to go then pay him a $3 million salary.
No.
You could probably still paid him less than what you paid Tommy Rees last year. You just had to pay for the buyout.
And like we said, look, that depends. You know what? There's more than one great candidate to do this job.
It's not the point.
We don't have to overextend ourselves.
That's bullcrap.
To get a great coach. But that's going to be.
There's more than one great candidate as the athletic director. So they should go hire someone and not have to pay Jack Swarbrick's salary anymore. Because, hey, it's just I'm going to get anybody to come here.
Get anybody to do it, right? Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
But that's what the spin is going to be.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what the spin is going to be. And like you said, we know Marcus. Marcus is not going to make any excuses.
No.
He's going to go out, he's going to grind, and he's going to find the perfect candidate for them.
Of the next perfect
candidate. Not understanding that the optics, once again, Notre Dame has failed in the area of optics. You failed with the Tommy Rees situation when you hired Marcus Freeman. Bad optics.
Terrible
optics. Now, look what you've done to the offensive coordinator that you decide to hire, that you do approve to pay his salary. Look what you've put over his head for no reason. None. Look what he has to walk into.
You're talking about whoever they hire is going to be the perception of, well, they didn't really want you.
Absolutely.
And some of the candidates you may have been able to go after, you're not going to be able to get now because, like, dude, I'm not playing second fiddle. I'm not going to be sloppy seconds, after that. So no thanks. And you're going to then have to pay that guy more to convince him to freaking come.
I would absolutely. If I'm representing a candidate, I would leverage the heck out of this situation.
Yeah.
I would absolutely leverage the heck out of this situation and make sure I get the best deal for my client.
Yep.
It's just bad optics. Why do you consistently want to put your head coach, whomever it is, in disadvantaged situations?
Yep.
Why? Why would you send a head coach to go sit in front of a mother, sit in front of a father, and tell them how committed you are to their son in the classroom and on the football field? Why? When you don't have any fruit that bears that. None. You won't even commit resources to have the best coaching staff. And we thought that you publicly saying we're willing to match Tommy Rees was Notre Dame actually moving forward. Because whether or not they did it, they have laid out the message that we're willing to pay for the best
for Tommy Rees.
For Tommy Rees. And then you turn right back and eliminate any goodwill that you've created with that announcement about what you were willing to do to match Alabama's offer. And you do something like this. Are you kidding me? I talked to at least 3 former players. 3. In a matter of 10 minutes. They're livid.
Sean, I got donors emailing me saying the same stuff. Dude, we would they didn't ask us. They didn't ask us to pay to raise money for this. They never came to us. Right? You don't think, to your point, Sean, you and I talked to a lot of former players, especially you and Malik have been doing that a lot because you're starting to bring more of them on. The energy they have for Marcus Freeman, you're telling me that they wouldn't have like this said, yeah, we got you. A buddy of mine just sent me a text. He goes, you could have done too is you could have negotiated some future home and home with Utah where you'd have paid him a little extra.
Absolutely.
To help bring that thing down.
Absolutely.
So, man, they could that, but that's the whole thing though, Sean. This isn't about whether or not Notre Dame could afford it. It's not about that.
No.
It's they weren't willing to do. And again, we talked about this, Sean. I think you and I did on the show. If you don't want to do the lowering academic standards, got it. We said it earlier. But there are certain things Notre Dame should absolutely make sure that they are the best at. There's no excuse not to be willing to pay for the best coaches. None. There's no excuse to not have the support staff, the best support staff in all of college football. There's no excuse to have equipment that doesn't work. Do you think I'm just pulling that out of my hat, Sean? Do you think I'm just making that one up? It's no excuse to walk into the training room and have ice baths that all of them don't work. Do you think I'm making that up? Do you think I'm pulling that out of my hat? Or do you think that's a conversation that I've had? Right? Stuff doesn't work in the locker rooms, right? Looks great on pictures. That's not about, oh, gee, they don't have a cool. It's you're not willing to do what you need to do to support this football team. And all of that stuff that we're talking about, Sean, is player-centric. Having the best O-line coach when you hired Harry Houston did what? It benefited the players. Hiring Andy Ludwig would do what? It would benefit the players.
Yeah.
But you're not willing to do that off these players that make you millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, tens, 20s, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? You and I did this. Now, look, this is a very rough thing to say because there's a lot of things that go into it as a business owner. But if Notre Dame charged $50 a ticket to sell out their stadium, you and I both know there's not a single game next year that will cost only $50. But if you just sold $50 a ticket, that's $4 million.
Yeah.
There's concessions, there's parking, there's all that. Now, I know there's overhead, but they're making this money off of these games. Like you said, Sean, they're about to get a huge, huge deal coming up soon when it comes to the apparel deal. They're going to get a new TV contract. But it's not even about that, Sean. They don't even need that to make this move. This is just, you don't want to do it for some, we could say it's because they're cheap. It could be something as stupid as, well, we're Notre Dame. We're too good to get into the bidding war. Nonsense. Bullcrap. So, man, it's
not adding up.
No.
See, 1 + 1 is 2. You know, they have this new age math, right? I've actually had to help my daughter in high school. And you know how we did math, right? But now it's totally different process to lead up to the same answer. And I'm like, well, why are they doing this? Because this is the way they want us to think. And Notre Dame's the same way. They do things because they want us to think and operate a certain way as a fan base. Its optics are horrible, but they keep us locked in.
Put out optics like they care.
Like they care.
Like they will do whatever we need to do.
Absolutely.
We care about the student athlete.
Absolutely.
We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's all this, Sean. It's all this. It's just talk.
And then we want you to spend $3,000 in airfare.
Right.
To go to Ireland next year.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Come on. Follow us across the pond. It's going to be a great time.
To watch us play Navy.
Watch us play Navy. But we're unwilling to give you the best offensive coordinator with Sam Hartman. We got a top 5 quarterback in college football.
Best offensive tackle tandem in college football coming back. One of the best backfields in college football coming back.
All of this. And we want to go second rate with the coaching. Yeah. That's what they're saying. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like this. Never. How many times? And I've seen it in the chat. Yes. We've been told that Marcus Freeman is just going to move forward. He's just going to move forward. Do his job. No excuses, right, Brian? No excuses. But guess what? Don't think that this doesn't go in his register as, okay, all right.
Yep.
The Tommy situation, check. I couldn't get Andy Ludwig, check.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
My thing is this too, Sean, is this isn't the first time this has happened. There was an assistant coach they wanted to hire last year, and they weren't willing to pay the buyout and pay the salary that he would want to get him here. They ended up with a good coach, right? But this isn't the first time this stuff has happened. And we know this stuff happened under Brian Kelly. And look, there's a number that I'm like, hey man, you're an offensive coordinator. I'm not paying you more than the head coach. Right? Like that's not what we're talking about here. Right? We're talking about a buyout. And, for me, Sean, it's just, it's just another example of what we've been here before, right? Notre Dame was a powerhouse from 88 to 93. And there's other reasons that they fell off a little bit, but a big reason for it was for years the school refused to support the football. They didn't like the football program got too big for their britches. And it's just it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that you're going to be willing to say, "Hey, we're not going to do this to support you." Right? But we're going to give all the lip service in the world. We're going to put the best coaching staff we can, as long as it doesn't cost too much.
Yeah.
Like, and here's my thing. I'm very curious to know what the buyout was for Tom Rees. Now, look, do I expect them to have a $2.8 million buyout for Tom Rees? Yeah. When you're talking about how you went into a bidding war to keep him from LSU last year, yeah, you better should have put a buyout in there.
Absolutely.
If for anything else, to keep Brian Kelly from coming after him again next year. So where's the money for that buyout? What's that being spent on? Academic resources. No, should be spent on the football program. So where's that money at? You're not going to have to pay your own line coach as much as you paid Harry Heastan, right? I mean, probably not. You got a 26-year-old safeties coach. But there's just so much of this, Sean, that's just absolutely inexcusable, man. There's no excuse for this, man.
And Brian, I've always been told never count another man's wallet, right? Never ask another man or complain about another man and how he spends his money, right? And but look, I'm not sitting up here telling Notre Dame how to spend that money.
I will.
You can. That's fine. I'm not telling you how to spend your money. What I will tell you is don't lie to me.
Bingo.
Don't lie to me. See, I know my dad. See, my dad is one of those dudes, Brian. He's going to go into the inner city and he's going to go to a nice small business and he's going to buy a bunch of t-shirts. He's going to get like 5 of them for like $20. Right? Me, I'm not like that. I'm going to go and get me some nice t-shirts that are probably going to cost $10 a piece because they feel comfortable on my skin. We just got two totally different mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
But we both know who each other. We know who we are. So he knows when it's time to buy me something. He knows where to go. And when it's time for me to buy him something, we don't tell each other how to spend money. It's the same thing. We're not telling you how to spend your money, Notre Dame. All we ask is that you be honest.
Yep.
As much as I laugh at the University of Miami, at least the University of Miami administration was honest with the football program.
Mm-hmm.
At least they flat out told them, we don't give a darn about the football program. We're trying to make Miami the Harvard of the Southeast. That's all we care about.
Yep.
And you saw the collapse of the football program, but they were honest. They were honest. The stuff that's being done over and over again is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And there's no need to do it. That's like the worst thing you can do is to lie when there's no need to do that. You can just be honest. If there are people in the administration that really don't care for the football program, be honest.
Right.
Just be honest. I'm shocked because in my position, I hold Jack Swarbrick to the fire tonight. I don't know how you didn't push this through. This is your head coach.
Mm-hmm.
This is your pick. Maybe the last head coach you choose for the University of Notre Dame. Might be your last. Might be your last legacy.
You better hope he's the last head coach you got to hire. That's my negativity coming out, meaning like, at some point in time, say, you know what? I want to win, and I want to be somewhere that wants to support me to win.
Yeah.
But Sean, you nailed it. Don't tell me you're buying a Gucci shirt and you'd wear nothing but first-class clothes when I know you're going downtown and buying $5 shirts.
Exactly.
Right? That's the thing that you're saying. And I'll tell them they need to spend their money because I'm telling them they need to spend their money. We're kind of saying the same thing, Sean, because I'm going to tell you we're spending your money because what you tell me you believe in. And I'm telling you this is what you need to do to support what you say you believe in. So just say, hey, look, y'all, we're happy going 9-3 every year. And if we
Yep.
make a couple runs at the playoffs and get curb stomped, we're happy.
We're happy with that.
We're not going to use that money to reinvest into the football team. Don't even think twice about that. But we're happy with that. Then just say that. And then Notre Dame fans can make whatever decisions they want to make. Now, I would say the minute that they say that, the people that say that need to be fired. Because Notre Dame says they strive for excellence in everything. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's just it's a pretty disgusting thing, man.
It's disgusting. What are we talking about? It is 2023.
Yeah.
People are paying way too. And then, wait a minute. Hold on. I have to bring this up. You, as a university, wouldn't pay $2 million for a buyout for an offensive coordinator, but you have the audacity to alienate the older part of your demographic, of your fan base, that has no connection to streaming services, has no connection to apps. You dare violate them by putting games on Peacock?
Mm-hmm.
You try to make a little extra change by tapping into Peacock? How dare you? How dare you always try to push forward to scrape together an extra dime or extra penny of revenue? But you want a penny pinch when it comes to coaches? What are we doing? Sweet and bitter water should not come out of the same mouth. That's what I meant to say.
Yep.
It shouldn't come out of the same mouth, but it's definitely happening. It's definitely happening. It's ridiculous. You know how many emails, inboxes I get over the last 2 seasons telling me, Sean, I just don't like this Peacock game. I'm not willing to pay $9, $10 just to watch this game against some team from the MAC.
Toledo.
Are you that cheap, that money hungry in one area that you would rob Peter to pay Paul?
$90 polos in the bookstore.
This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I don't blame, I'm glad you talked to big time alums tonight, Brian.
No, donors.
Donors. They should be, the donors should be the one in this situation that should apply the pressure.
Yeah.
The donors should be the one to say, okay, now this is enough. This is enough. The damage is already done. The moment the story came out a couple hours ago, the damage is done. Horses out of the barn. Notre Dame is who we thought they were. That's what people all across the country are saying.
Mm-hmm. Stuart
Notre
Mandel
Dame
said it,
yes.
and I can't disagree. I mean, this is exactly what Stuart Mandel said. And look, I'm not a Stuart Mandel fan. I don't care much for him, to be completely honest with you. But this is what he tweeted: Notre Dame won't pay $2.8 million to buy out a coach in the SEC. That's called closing costs. And here's my thing: that has nothing to do with being a school of integrity and a school that cares about academics. It has nothing to do with that. It in no way diminishes that. None. John, none. Paying players to come play for you the way that the pay-for-play thing works, I'm with that. I will truly support that, Sean, because I understand what that means and how you as an institution don't want to go that way. I get it. I do. Saying we're going to lower academic standards to bring kids in here that we don't think maybe could be successful in the classroom just to win football games, I'm with you on that, because you don't need it. Because I've made the case. Look, at one point in time, we broke down Notre Dame's entire 2023 recruiting class, and every single kid in there was over 3.0. The lowest GPA was like 3.25.
Yes.
So you don't need to do that. There's no justification for this, Sean. None. If you knew the buyout was this much, you should have been prepared to pay it. If you didn't know the buyout was this much, I don't care. You should have been prepared to pay it. And to just say we're not going to do it.
And then don't get arrogant and go to Utah to try to negotiate them down.
Right. I mean, you try, but when they say no, you're like, all right, cool. It is what it is.
Like, dude, like Pete, that's chump change. Like, don't even worry about it. We'll send it to you.
Would you
That's the
like that
power.
nickels or bills or
Absolutely.
what? Yeah.
That's the flex. That's how Notre Dame should have flexed. How much is it? Don't worry about it. We'll wire it to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, hold on a second.
Right.
Get my wallet.
Exactly.
It's frustrating, man. Don't talk to me that you are a team that strives for excellence. You're an institution that strives for excellence. We could get into a lot of things to show that's not true. But don't say that, hey, we're going to get the best that we can get. No.
I'm going to be honest with you, Brian. This is one of the most disappointing nights I've ever had as a Notre Dame fan.
Yep.
And they're not
he
even
wanted to come, man.
They're not even
He wanted
playing.
to come. And what I was told tonight, too, the O-line coach probably comes with him. That's what I was told tonight, about an hour before all this broke.
It's disappointing.
It's frustrating.
It's disappointing. It's frustrating. It does not bode well for this program moving into the future. Notre Dame has found a way to zap all of the excitement that was created by Marcus Freeman.
Yeah. Ryan and I were talking earlier, Sean, and this was off the air. We've said it many times, man. If they could go get Andy Ludwig and, man, some of the other moves that we're hearing might happen. Boy, I tell you what, man, there's going to be as much excitement about next year as there was this past year with the new hire. You know how hard it is to go 9-4 in your first year and then create just as much buzz, if not more, than next year. I mean, but that's where we would have been. And instead, we're here. Where Notre Dame is willing to take this black eye because they don't care. Because they know everybody's audience is still going to do what, Sean? They're going to turn on the TV on Saturday. They're going to show up at the stadium. They're going to fork over the money.
Yep.
Then they're going to make it easy. Some fans are going to sell their tickets to make a buck. You know what? I'm not even mad at those people anymore. Because that's they're just following the lead from the bosses.
Yep.
That's it. They're just following the lead from the school. Hey, man, do what you got to do to make a buck. It's really frustrating, man. It's really frustrating. And again, he's going to hire somebody, whether it's an outside candidate, whether it's Jared Parker, and that coach is going to be walking into a buzzsaw because he's going to look like fair or unfair. And I'd say it's unfair because Sean, it is true. There are other really good offensive coordinators out there.
Yes.
Marcus Freeman will get back on the grind and go try to find somebody just as good. But it's not the point. He shouldn't have to go do that, Sean. He found the guy that he wanted. He found the guy with a proven track record. And you're not willing to go pay a buyout to get that guy on campus. But you were willing to meet the Tommy Rees demands from Alabama. My thing is, I'll bet you $20, Sean, that that's not actually true. They knew he was leaving. They knew he was going to take that job. And they floated out there for optics. How much you want to bet that's true?
Yeah.
So you waited until he was on campus to say, oh, we'll match whatever. You knew he was leaving at that point in time. But you put that out there to save face. Oh, it's not about money. It's not about money. It's not about money. Get out of here with that mess. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
All of the momentum created in recruiting, all of the momentum created by Marcus Freeman with the fan base, even in the midst of a 9-4 season. Even the fan base was excited with Tommy Rees leaving.
Yeah.
The vast majority of fans were like, good, okay, Tommy.
Fair or unfair, that's exactly how they felt. Yeah.
They felt like, looking forward to this next hire. It's a lot of great candidates out there that will probably be an upgrade. Fan base was super excited. You get the guy that most of the fan base would have been right on board. Let's go. You get him. He wants to come.
But we're
And
not
this is
going to pay.
and this is what they give you.
Yep.
Here's what they think about you.
Yep.
That was the intro. You remember No Vaseline by Ice Cube?
Oh, yes.
That's how it started off. Here's what they think
Yeah.
about you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you.
Because they know you're still going to show up. You're still going to turn
Yes.
up. And people are mad now, right? And rightfully so. And there's a lot of people saying, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not turning it on. I'm not doing this. But we will, because we love Notre Dame. And that's why they do it, right? I'm going to deprive myself of something that I love and brings me joy because you're an a-hole, and that's why we do it. But it's just, I mean, like when Lou Emoji would tell me, man, when he was covering Notre Dame, they could go to every single practice, right? They don't do that now, right? They continue to cut down access. And it's not like the media department's pumping out a bunch of videos to make up for the lack of access that we get. They get like this little 20-second thing, and people are getting so hyped up about these little 20-second workout videos that show absolutely nothing, because it's like that's all we're getting. It's like, oh, I just got I'm in the desert and I just got a little drop of water. I'm gonna act like you just gave me like a big gallon of water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's all we're getting. We won't get access to practice like we used to. Get like 2 full practices last year in fall camp, Sean, right? It was like the first practice, and then the next practice they had was a non-padded practice.
Yeah.
And who's that hurt? Doesn't hurt. It hurts us to a degree business-wise, but who are they really hurting? Because I've said this, hey, if you're Notre Dame and you don't want us to be there, that's fine. Put out your own content.
Exactly.
We'll promote it because it's for the fans. We'll put it on our site. We'll promote it. But you should have a video from every freaking practice. You should have a highlight video from every practice in fall camp. And you can show stuff that's not going to give away anything to the other teams. Oh, hey, Tyler Buckner can hit a corner route. Oh, God, they're going to know what we're doing now. You know what I mean? Come on. But they don't care, Sean. They don't care. Why do they charge as much as they do for jerseys? Because they know we'll buy it. And where's how much money are you making off jerseys? You can't put a little, some scraps from that to help, I don't know, pay for a coaching staff? Because what's it get down to, Sean? What does having a coach like Harry Hiestand, for example, on the offensive line mean what does it mean? Oh, well, they're going to be a good football team. Why? Why are they going to be a good football team, Sean? When they hire a good coach, why does it matter? Because that coach will be able to get the most out of those players.
Yeah.
And then what does that mean? That means you're giving those guys the best chance they can to go out there and find their life after football success or life after college success with football, which most kids that come to Notre Dame have that dream. But you're going to deprive them of that because you don't want to spend a little bit of money, which I promise you, if you do right by them, you'll get back down the road playing. Here's an example. $2.8 million, Sean, is not chump change. I am not sitting up here saying it's chump change, right? But it's not hard for Notre Dame to get it if they wanted to do it.
Yep.
Right? I understand that's a decent dollar amount. I get that, even for a school like Notre Dame. But you still got to be willing to pay it. But here's the reason why you do it. Because it's going to make your football team better. And if your football team's better, what does that mean for the 2023 season, Sean? It means your 10-2 maybe turns into 11-1, or maybe even 12-0.
Yeah.
Your 9-3 turns into 11-1. Next thing you know, you're a playoff team. Guess what happens when I'm going to negotiate my contract with NBC or whoever else? I'm coming off of a playoff team. That $2.8 million is going to look like nothing at that point in time. We're the hottest program in college football right now. We got a young, hot coach that everybody loves and respects and thinks the world of because he's a great dude. He's fashionable. He's respectful. He's a dad. He flaunts how important being a parent and a husband and all that is to. He is what people should be aspiring to as a parent, as a husband, as a coach, all of it, as a dresser, all of it. And you could have this going hot. You could say, hey, look, we're going to give you what you need. Yeah, okay, we had to go spend $2.8 million over here. We had to spend $1 million over here. But you know what? You're going to get it back because the team you put on the field next year is going to smash people. Which means what? Now I'm willing to pay $150 to go to that Pitt game in November because I want to watch this team play. I'm willing to pay $100 to park to go to this game because I want to watch this team play. I will pay $150 or $200 for that jersey because I love this team and how good they are. You'd make that money back like it was nothing if you're one to invest in the program. But it's not about that because they don't care. There's no other way to explain it, Sean. There's no other way to explain it than they just don't care. It's lip service. Because if this is what your head coach said, who, by the way, you're saving money on because you're not paying him what you pay Brian Kelly, which is fine. Brian Kelly had a much more proven track record than Marcus Freeman. He needs to earn the money that Brian Kelly was making, right? So what are you saying to him? What are you saying to your players? Hey, guys, we love you, but go make us money next year. Go to the playoff. But, sorry about us not doing what we need to do to get you the money you need to go be successful. We still expect you to win, though, right? If Marcus Freeman goes 8-4 the next 2 years, you think the administration is going to be like, hey, man, no big deal. That's on us. We didn't give you the resources. No. Hey, man, why aren't you winning? Are you serious with that question right now?
Yeah.
Really? You serious with that question right now? How about I had to go down to option number 7 for my offensive coordinator because you wouldn't pay for buyout? I'm being hyperbolic with that. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's what tonight says, Sean. And we'll get to look. We're going to get to spin tomorrow. We're going to get. Well, see, here's what really was going on because these guys are good at spin, man. They are great at spin. They're going to put their people that they have in the media. They're going to put other people that they're going to get it out there. Hey, look, here's what really happened. No. That's not really what it was. I'm telling you right now, Marcus Freeman wanted Andy Ludwig. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They knew the dollar amount. They weren't willing to match. Whenever they knew it, before, after, whatever, don't care. Whenever that dollar amount was presented, okay, look, and I'm okay. You want to negotiate to get it down? Man, maybe Utah budgets and you get it down $500,000. I'm cool with that. But you got to be willing to pay whatever it is. And so I'm just so disgusted right now, man. We're going to get to spin tomorrow. You know it's coming. But that's all it is. It's spin. This is the guy they wanted. This is the guy Marcus wanted. They wouldn't give it to him. They weren't willing to pay to give it to him, to get a guy from Utah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I can't wait to hear exactly what they're going to say tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting because it's going to come, Sean. This is what it's one of the things Notre Dame is the best at, in my opinion, is spin. It really is. They do a great job of that.
Yeah, because they spin it to us as we're different.
Right.
We're Notre Dame.
Right.
No one's like us. That's the spin they give us to make us feel better about the way they continue to act when it comes to supporting the football program. Oh, we're different.
Right.
No, we're not. We're not different. We're not different. We're light years behind.
That's what makes them different. The difference is that you don't actually want to truly be a championship program.
Yes.
You just want to say it. Because it's like this, Sean. Every coach in America goes in onto the route. When you get together on your football team, hey, guys, our goal this year is to win a championship, win an SEC championship, win a Big Ten championship. Like, bro, we went 0-12 last year. But, hey, we're trying to compete for a champ. No coach goes in, hey, guys, it's going to be a fun year. We're just hoping to get 3 wins. Everybody says it. Most teams don't actually believe it. They know that that's not who they are. And that's where Notre Dame is right now as an institution. I'm not talking about Marcus Freeman right now. I'm not talking about Marcus Freeman at all. Because he swung for the fences with this kind of thing. This was big. He wants to be there. That's why he went out and got Dylan McCullough last year and got Harry Heastand last year and got the guy. And some of those hires didn't work out. That happens. But you're gonna then say, hey, we expect you to win a championship, but we're not gonna support you like all the other teams compete for championships. Right? Marcus Freeman is not asking them to, hey guys, can we please pay players so I can get Keon Keeley next year or get Peyton Bowen next year? Or I get Dante Morton. That's not what he's asking for. That's not what he's asking for. He's saying, hey, I got this coach that I think can make us really good. Really good. Because you and I know, Sean, Marcus Freeman believes that this roster is championship caliber.
Absolutely.
That's why he went and got Sam Hartman, because that's one position where there was some uncertainty about it. Tyler's injuries and all that. And he's swinging for the fences with this offensive coordinator thing. And Notre Dame said, no, sorry. We're going to move the fences back 50 feet. So your 400-foot home run that you're about to hit is about to fall short. And it's just it's a frustrating thing, man. It's, as you said, Sean, it's I haven't been this frustrated in a long time. Because and this is on me, I started to buy into it, Sean. I started to buy into the lie again. And this is how they get us, right? We realize the truth, and then they'll do something to like make us think, no, we're serious this time. And they get me back in, and they suck me back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do something like this. And I'm glad I got out. And this explains why they were so quiet about, we don't want stuff to get out. We don't know. This is why. I mean, and it's just, I'm glad I got out. I'm really glad I got out, because they weren't going to tell us that. If it didn't get out through the media, I don't promise you. I won't be shocked if this came out from the Utah side.
Well, we actually did a night show tonight. In the middle of the night show, Josh Newman, who covers the Utes for the Salt Lake City Tribune, who was supposed to join us earlier today, but Malik was traveling, so we pushed it back to tonight. He called and said, man, something's breaking. Can I come on with you guys tomorrow? Only to see that he was one of the first tweets saying that the buyout was the main issue. And he was supposed to join us tonight. So you're right. More than likely it was the Utah side that was willing to expose everything.
Yep. This is what pisses me off about how they handle things. Like, they asked me not to talk about Sam Hartman. I got told, this, Sean, because I told you. I told you a couple weeks before the Sam Hartman thing broke that they're going to get Sam Hartman. Say, hey, man, don't report it. We'll let you know when it's about to happen so you can be the first. Okay, cool, whatever. So I kept it, because that's what you do, right? When they say, hey, because you're not going to get the name if you don't say, hey, look, I'll put it out when you want it out. But I kept telling them, bro, this is going to break, right? Wake Forest people have no reason to keep that to themselves. So once the decision is made, you got to run with it. Their inability I don't know if they don't get it. I don't know what it is. But how do you not know that this is going to come out? Did you really think that this was not going to come out? I mean, you had to know it was going to come out. And to the fact that they're not able to stay on top of it, man, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. And it's just, you know what it is? Here's my frustration. My frustration is this, y'all. It's Notre Dame, and I've said this before. This is one of my big criticisms of Brian Kelly. One of my biggest criticisms, and this, I'm not trying to turn this back on Brian Kelly. Like, this isn't Brian Kelly's fault, but I'm trying to make a point here. Sean will be back, by the way. He had to go fix something real quick. But one of my biggest issues with Brian Kelly was the unforced errors that he would make. Okay, you hire Brian Van Gorder, it's cool. Everybody makes bad hires. Nick Saban's made bad hires. Usually, Nick Saban recognizes those hires quicker. Urban Meyer's made bad hires. Urban Meyer tried to replace Tom Herman with Tim Beck and Ed Warner as the offensive coordinators. It was a disaster. They went to the playoff the next year, lost 31-0. It was a disaster. The offense struggled against every decent team they played last year. My frustration with Brian Kelly was the unforced errors. Hiring Charlie Molnar. Moving Tony Alford to receiver so you can bring in Tim Hinton. Hiring Brian Van Gorder. Everybody makes hires like that. But then you keep them for 3 years. Unforced error. Keeping Brian Polian on your staff. Unforced error. Not getting rid of Phil Longo until you went 4-8. Unforced error. And that's the thing that Brian Kelly did is there was too many of those unforced errors. Well, he's exactly what this institution is. It's these unforced errors. It's these, you're putting stumbling blocks in front of you. The SEC's not putting stumbling blocks in front of you. NCAA's not putting stumbling blocks in front of you. Big Ten's not putting stumbling blocks in front of you. You're putting stumbling blocks in front of you. You're making the decision not to do this. You're making the decision not to pay the money you need to make to go get the best coaches. You're the one making the decision not to pay the money you need to make sure that the facilities you do have are up to par. You're the ones making the decision to make sure that to say that Notre Dame's not going to have the best nutrition program in the country. You're the one making the decision to say we're not going to give the football program the resources to make sure that they have the analysts and the off the field people and all the different resources that the players need and the coaches need to be the best they can be, which again always turns back on the players. And so to me, these are all things that they're in control of, right? Well, hey, they can't control NIL. They don't need NIL. I keep saying that a million times. They don't need NIL. Notre Dame is different. They'll still get kids. But the reality is they're the ones putting the stumbling blocks in front of themselves. It's these unforced errors like this that constantly are the reason Notre Dame is not winning. It's not because other teams or they can just recruit better players. Indiana's never been a giant producer of talent. It's not like in 1988, Notre Dame had 17, 18 starters from the state of Indiana, like Ohio State might have had back then from Ohio, or that Florida State would have from Florida. They've always had to recruit nationally. They've always had tougher academic standards. They've always had these things, but they still won. That's not, and I've said this for years, Sean. You think the academic standards are holding Notre Dame back? You're buying into the lie. It's not. It's this kind of crap.
It's their crutch, though. It's their crutch. The academic standards is the crutch that they can
It's the
always
go-to BS excuse. Well, we're different. We don't play that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It's not. Then don't play that game. I've never been the one to advocate for that. You've never heard me, Sean, say they need to lower the academic standards. I've said you need to alter your transfer policy so that qualified student athletes can come to Notre Dame. That's different. That's not saying, hey, let this kid who was a 2-4 after 3 years at Florida State come to Notre Dame. That kid doesn't have any business coming to Notre Dame to play football. That's not what I'm advocating for. I am advocating for, however, a school with a operating budget. A buddy of mine just texted me. He would know such things. He's trying to get confirmation, but he told me that the annual operating budget's over $1 billion at Notre Dame. Most games, you're bringing in 80,000 people at over $100 a ticket. And you aren't willing to pay $2.8 million to go bring in an offensive coordinator. Your head coach is identified as the guy he needs to take this thing to the next level. And I promise you that's what this Notre Dame coaching staff thought. They were fired up about Andy Ludwig.
Yes.
And then now what's to say to them? Well, let me touch up my resume because this place ain't serious. Why am I investing my time at this place? If you're Chancey Stuckey right now, you're like, yo, this was never a problem at Clemson. And they'll give us whatever we needed to go be successful. Why would you want to invest in that? They're not. Why am I going to give you the best that I have when I know you're not giving me your best? So I'll tell you what, they better hope Marcus Freeman doesn't mess around and get this team to the playoffs this year. Because there's going to be some people wanting to throw some money at him the minute he gets to the playoffs. Right? You and I both know this.
Yeah.
And this is going to be in the mental Rolodex. I shouldn't speak for Marcus. I shouldn't speak for him. That because I don't know if that's he. I shouldn't speak for him. If I'm him, this is like written in Sharpie in the back of my mind, Sean. Nope, no written in pencil. This is in Sharpie, and I got copies. So
things can happen fast in college football.
Yeah, man.
Ryan Day could lose another game to Michigan this year.
Yup.
And Ohio
and get
State,
beat by Marcus.
And get beat by Marcus, and Ohio State could have an opening.
Yep. And then he just wanted to go back. No, he wanted to go somewhere he is. Now, we're just giving you our opinion, right? This is just us kind of setting an example. We're not saying he's leaving. We have no clue if he's leaving. But I'm making the point that when you do stuff like this, someone who truly wants to win is going to be taking notes of all this. All of it. It's ridiculous. My my only hope, Sean, is that Marcus Freeman is going to win in spite of them. I think he's capable of it, but that's what it's going to take at this point in time. He's going to have to win in spite of the school supporting this program the way that they should. And let me tell y'all something right now. Sean knows this. This isn't an isolated incident.
No.
This isn't an isolate. This is not two dudes who are fans getting on a situation where we're just emotional and we're upset and all that kind of stuff. No, that's not what this is. That's not what this is. This is a situation where we have had enough of this. Right? That's where we're at, Sean. You and I have had enough of this because we have seen this too many times. And that's my frustration. We have seen this too many times. And it's just like, okay, I've had it. I've had enough. I've had enough. This is the last straw. I've heard enough from parents. I've heard enough from players, former coaches about this stuff to say, okay, you can ignore this person, that person, but when it all just keeps coming, and then this happens very publicly, it's like, okay, they're not serious. This is not a serious group of people at Notre Dame right now when it comes to the things they say about championships. You're not serious. You're not serious. You're just giving me words. You're a politician at this point in time. You know, I'm going to say what I need to say to you to get elected and then not do any of the crap that I said I was going to say to get elected. And that happened. That comes from D's. That comes from R's. That comes from I's. That comes from all of them, Sean, for the most part.
Yeah.
That's not a thing that's for, well, one party does that. No. And that's what this is. We're going to tell you what you want to hear to make you keep giving us this. And we're, and it's like I really think they think that because of Marcus's personality and the way he recruits it, he'll be able to do what we need him to do to go win. Right? Put it all on his back. And then if he doesn't win, well, we gave him the resources to be successful, but he couldn't get it done. The heck you did.
You know what? Everyone outside of South Bend has been telling us for years that Notre Dame is unwilling to get in the fight.
Yep.
And most of us flat out didn't believe it. Most of us stood on our fandom and defended Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Tonight might start to change that for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yep. How does it not, Sean?
Yeah.
In some of the ways, I'm cool with them. If we were just two dudes that said, "Hey, man, pay players, do it. Give Dante Moore whatever he wants financially. Lower your academic." If that was us, then it's just us continue to say, "Just be like everybody." We're not saying that. We're not those people. We have supported and defended this institution when it's pushed back against those things, and I still will. Because that, to me, is against what Notre Dame says it's about. But this, there's no defense for.
No.
Because ultimately, who gets the biggest benefit from victories and success and winning and topping and maxed out performances? I'm going to go back and I'm going to say it again. It's the kids with the shoulder pads and the helmets on. Right? How much did Ronnie Stanley, Zach Martin, Chris Watt, Nick Martin, Alex Bars, Quentin Nelson, Mike McGlinchey, Aaron Banks, Robert Hainsey, Tommy Kramer, all those, Sam Luster, all those guys that have made a professional career out of playing the offensive line, how much did they benefit from having one of the best develop them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you not want that when you can get it? Well, no, we're only willing to support our players in that regard in up to this level of dollars. Come on, man. Come on.
It's just an unfortunate situation. It's an unfortunate situation where you had the right guy at the right time, willing to make the move to be the next offensive coordinator for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
A guy who had said Utah was his final stop,
Yes.
who's from Utah, who has a daughter at Utah, was willing to turn all that down because he believed that Notre Dame stood for something different, that Notre Dame could be something different.
Mm-hmm.
Said, nah, man, it's not worth it to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we're at, buddy.
It's unfortunate, man. As Notre Dame fans, I'm sorry. On this day before, or technically on this Valentine's Day, right now, because it's technically the 14th, I'm sorry you had to have your heart broken
Yep.
by this school and this administration.
The love of your life doesn't love you the same.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It's just, I liken it unto Tommy being a sprained ankle when he left, but you'd be able to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry leaving was kind of like that
Tore my
thing being,
meniscus.
no, it's kind of like that being re-aggravated,
Right.
right? Like you feel the pain because it's connected, so you feel the pain of it. But eventually, you still have Zeke Carrell, Blake Fisher, and Joe Alt.
Yeah.
Coming back next year, so
right.
You'll be all right. Ice it, elevate it, you'll be okay. This right here is one of the biggest gut punches
Yeah.
to the Notre Dame fan base.
Yep. And the coaching staff, because I'm telling you, Sean, there's people in Notre Dame fired up about bringing in Andy Ludwig. Fired up.
But you know what they expect us to do? Big gut punch. Oh, get up. Get up. You guys will be all right.
Yeah.
You're fine.
You really wanted it.
We're
You
gonna
really
get the
asked for it.
We're gonna get the next best thing for you. Watch and see. Watch and see. It's gonna be just fine. We're gonna end up 10-2, go to a nice bowl. We'll be fine. Nah.
Hey, we're building a really cool, expensive new dorm.
Nah. Nah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm throwing in my white towel tonight. Not on my fandom,
No,
or just the belief
on
and
this leadership, on the leadership at Notre Dame right now.
on what I've been sold.
Yeah,
I'm throwing in my towel tonight.
yeah. Look, I pretty much said to Father Jenkins, whatever, that I've been done with that dude for a few years. I still thought Jack Swarbrick at least cared enough about what he said to say, "Hey, I can make that. I gotta make some calls. I gotta twist some elbows, twist some arms, and do all that. But we'll get it done, Marcus. We'll get it done. We'll do what we need to do to get it done. Just like we said we were going to do for Tommy, which I still don't believe. By the way, I still don't believe that. I think that was all lip service. Because think about how late it came out. Tommy was already at Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh no, we'll match whatever, bro. He's gone. That's why he's down there. You know, but it was it could have been done. Maybe to taken a couple extra days. It could have been done. To just flat out say, nope. Man. Ridiculous. But that's where we're at, right? I mean, so yeah. Am I done with my and I always love Notre Dame. Look, IB's getting up tomorrow. We're going to do this show. We're going to keep putting out content. We're going to keep praising the coaching staff and the players they need to be praised and holding them accountable when they need to be held accountable. And we're going to do that to the institution. And I've defended this institution. And I said, look, ultimately, Sean, this is what I always said. Brian Kelly needed to do what he needed to do to be successful. Then, if it didn't work, then we could go say, let's hold the administration's feet to the fire. That's what I've always said. And Brian Kelly put a lot of his own roadblocks in front of him. That's what I was talking about when you had to step away, Sean.
Yeah.
Is Brian Kelly was Brian Kelly's own worst enemy. He never did what he needed to do
Right.
to get to the point where you could then say the administration wasn't stepping up. But that's what Marcus is trying to do, though. He's not trying to hire one of his buddies. The easiest thing, if Marcus Freeman was Brian Kelly, he just would have promoted Jared Parker from jump. That's not to say that Jared Parker's not a good football coach. He is. I've heard some very good things about Jared Parker. That's not the point. That would have been the easy way, though. Right? He was like, I have Jared. I love his mind. Let me go get Andy Ludwig's mind as well. And I got both of them.
Yeah.
And then Andy's 58. He comes here, coaches 3-4 years, does his thing. Guess who I'm handing the offense over to? Okay, that's how he wanted to do it. Right? He shot for it. He made his move. He went and got Harry Hiestand. He went and got Al Golden, which, again, I don't think it's worked out so far, but it was a bold move. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do one of those hindsight 2020, I didn't want Al Golden to begin with. I mean, there were some concerns about NFL thing, but that's a bold move. You just got a linebackers coach from the NFL. He should be the head coach of Miami. This guy comes with a great reputation. It's a bold move, right? And so I feel like he's trying to do what he needs to do, but he's now not getting the support. So we can hold Notre Dame's feet to the fire. He is putting the work in the recruiting trail. In the light of the NIL era, still going in and putting in work and bringing in an outstanding class. And this is how you repay it. So
I have to laugh, man. I have to laugh to kind of balance off my emotions right now.
Yeah, because
I have
otherwise
to.
you may have some repentance to do afterwards.
Yeah. It's the ultimate fail. It's the ultimate fail, right? Pro sports, college sports, in order to have a successful program, everyone within the building, within the administration, coaching staff, players, assistants, GAs, everyone needs to be pulling on the same rope.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it seems like the staff, Marcus Freeman, the players are in a tug of war with the administration. No, everyone isn't pulling in the same direction to get the desired result.
Yep.
You have the head coach, the staff, and the players pulling with the administration on the other side, with the board of trustees pulling against them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tug of war. And that's not the way things should work. It's just not. It's just not.
Yep. John, I do want to. One of the things we wanted to do tonight was obviously share our opinions, and we have microphones, and we have a channel, and we have a voice. But I also want to kind of give a voice to everybody here, and we have a lot of people that have given super chats, and so I want to pull those up here, Sean, and just read some of those and respond to the ones that need to be responded to. This is from Charlie Weiss's last belt loop. Sean, did you know that Charlie Weiss's last belt loop just got married this weekend? Did you know that?
Congratulations, Charlie. Yes, I did not know that.
Yes, he just got married.
For you and your spouse.
Yes, absolutely. And he on the day of his honeymoon, he was still the day of his wedding, he was still posting on the message board. I was like, bro, am I gonna have to ban you from the site today so that you stay off of it and go spend time with your wife? But we are happy for you, buddy. So even in this frustrating day football wise, there's still obviously some good things. He goes, so tonight proved they don't care about Notre Dame football success. This is embarrassing. They will hire Parker Watt, which sucks. Let's be real. They're not the guys to make Indy better. Who leaves the class? Okay, here's the thing, Sean. I think he's been a little bit over dramatic in that. Look, Jared Parker does not suck. He's a very talented football coach. Chris Watt may not be ready yet, but he does not suck. The point isn't that they suck, but the point is, wouldn't you be better off having them and Andy Ludwig and Joe Harding instead of just those two? That's my point, right? And that's where it comes from is it's not that those guys are bad coaches. I think that's unfair. But the other point to him, Sean, is he speaks to what you talked about earlier. This is exactly what people are going to say most likely about no matter whoever they hire. Because even if they hire someone that you and I love, because here's the deal. I'm going to evaluate the guy they hire fairly.
Yeah.
And when I evaluate him, it won't have anything to do with what happened tonight. I'm going to evaluate him. Now, we'll have conversations in different types of shows where we talk about, what woulda, coulda, shoulda. But there's really good football coaches out there that you can go get. Harry Hiestand, we talked about this on the show today, Sean. Harry Hiestand leaving, and we said if they don't get Parker, Harry Hiestand leaving now opens up the OC board a little bit more because there's some OCs out there that were offensive line coaches. We talked about Alex Atkins of Florida State, maybe Jeff Grimes of Baylor, some guys like that are O-line guys. But you couldn't hire those guys before. Yeah. I mean, so in some ways, there's guys out there. It's not the point. The point is because of the way this all went down, the perception is going to be that guy is a second rate or you weren't the guy. Right?
Yeah.
Because as good as Kenny Minchie is, Sean, there's still a lot of Notre Dame fans say, yeah, but he ain't Dante.
He ain't Dante.
And he's not.
Yeah.
And fair or not, that's what the perception is going to be. And that's what the perception is going to be for whoever they hire. And especially if they hire Jared Parker. And I think it'd be unfair. I think it'd be very unfair, but it's also understandable because of the way this all went down. I mean, Jared Parker was one of the coaches wooing Andy Ludwig to come to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You don't think Jared Parker wanted to learn under somebody like Andy Ludwig? Seriously? How much better he would be when his time comes to run this offense if he got to learn under Andy Ludwig? Get my point, Sean? This is the dominoes that this thing happens on top of the egg on his face. And so it's just it's unfortunate. We have a super chat from Brian B. What's the silver lining in this? Or should I just go to bed mad? Should never go to bed mad. When I finish the show and I download everything, I will be dropping on my knees tonight and praying for calm and peace. And remembering there's a lot more important things going on tonight than just football. We've seen what happened at Michigan State tonight. There's other things going on in our world that are a lot more important than football. But it's okay to be frustrated about this. But no, don't go to bed mad. Silver lining is, I'll tell you what my silver lining is. For now, Marcus Freeman's still the head coach. And I still have a lot of faith in Marcus Freeman to go, okay, so this is what you want to do? All right. I'm going to still go do what I need to do to go out and win. You think Marcus Freeman's sitting there tonight like, man, well, we're going to suck this year. There's nothing I can do about it. And he's like, all right, okay. Let me go see what I can do now. Let me go get a great candidate now. It's just he should be in that situation, Sean. It'd be one thing if Andy Ludwig would turn it down. Right? He just doesn't want to leave Utah. All right, cool, man. That sucks. It's all good. But hey, move on to the next guy. Be a little bit of a black guy, got turned down by a guy. But this is like, dude, this is on you, man. This is on you as a school. So he'll keep battling. And I think to me, that's the silver lining is about the only thing I can think of, man. It's just, Marcus Freeman's going to keep grinding. Chad Bode's going to keep grinding, right? Jared Parker, Mike Mickens, Chancey Stuckey, Dealing, they're going to keep grinding, right? And it's all you can really look at, right? Ryan Prott with a super chat. Thank you, Ryan. How does Notre Dame even recover from this? New leadership. I'm talking above the football program. New leadership. That's what it takes. I got no other answers than that, Sean. New leadership. So this is something that I always told my players. Excellence isn't just something you achieve on the football field.
Yeah.
Excellence needs to be something now, not all of them bought into it. Excellence needs to be something you achieve in everything. I always told my players this, Sean. In 20 years, when we meet up for our championship reunion, I'm not going to care. We're not going to care a whole lot about that catch. I mean, we'll reminisce about it.
Yeah.
And it's what you do. But I'm not going to care about that. That's not going to define you. What's going to define you is I want to know what kind of husband you are. I want to know what kind of father you are. I want to know what kind of business owner you are or employee you are, what kind of man you are, because I want you to strive for excellence in everything that you do, right? And then you got to put action to that, Sean, because then, and this is something that I loved about what Marcus Freeman said. They're like, because you'll listen to press conferences and you hear children running around in the background. It's all of Freeman's kids and other coaches' kids. So, well, why do you have your kids at practice? And his response was, because I want them to see how important it is. I want them to see me as a father. Because he cares about, I want these young men to be successful as young men also. The administration says they give lip service to that, Sean. They give lip service to it. So until there's new leadership, a new president, I mean, I hate to say it. I've tried to defend Jack Swarbrick on things, but I'm at the point now where it's like, are you really serious about this? Just be straight with me. Stop giving me BS. You've done a lot of good things. Stop giving me BS about how you care about the football team. You couldn't go get this done. It's new leadership, Sean. You got anything else? I mean, or hope that Marcus Freeman is so good, he's like Lou Holtz and he overcomes it. Because what y'all don't understand, Lou Holtz was winning championships and competing for championships when the school was going against him. The difference is Lou Holtz had 10, 15 years as a head coach experience. Marcus Freeman is on year 2.
Yeah.
That's the only hope that I have is new leadership, and Marcus Freeman just rises above it. That's all you got, right? I mean, you got anything else?
You know, I've never seen an athletic director that wants praise for doing the bare minimum.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, you want a pat on the back for doing your job?
Yeah. Maybe if you worked as hard building this Notre Dame team up as you do getting your name in the paper for what you're doing with the college football playoff committee and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. You know? You're doing the stuff to try to get the NCAA president job. Okay, you didn't get that now, so what's your legacy going to be now? You know, how about maybe you start making Notre Dame your legacy again and start doing what you need to do? Because there's nothing there's absolutely nothing in the motto, the mantra of what Notre Dame is that says you shouldn't go get the best because it costs too much.
Yeah.
Perception-wise, costs too much. Nothing about that. Next super chat from Riza, my dude, ND alum, 3 kids, and Notre Dame football is my only hobby at this point. Super depressing and makes me ask, what's the point? Can't imagine how Marcus Freeman feels. Well, number one, what's the point is you got this phenomenal community of like-minded people that agree with you and that can consult on you. And the other point is, no matter how pissed off you are right now, when it comes to sports, Sean, for me, there's still no sweeter feeling than being at Notre Dame Stadium and listening to Here Comes the Irish as the players run through the tunnel.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And you hope that someday it's going to change. Look, I mean, we go through these things in all types of aspects, Sean, right? We see in our country, you get bad presidents, bad Congress, and it's just like, man, can it get any worse?
Yeah.
Like we're done,
Yeah.
right? You know, you think of you remember the movie Miracle, and they're having a scene where the hockey players are playing flag football, and they're listening to Jimmy Carter's malaise speech about how awful it was. Well, you know what? We got through it, right? We came out better. You always go through these things when you know things suck and they look down, but you don't quit, you don't give up. You still battle through, you still remain faithful. Now maybe you make your stance, your stand, right? Figure out what that stand is. Figure out what you're willing to do to make them pay, right? But still, man, you still got to love that. That thing that runs through your blood of the love for University of Notre Dame, because here's the deal. I'm not blaming Sam Hartman for this. I'm not blaming Blake Fisher for this. I'm not blaming J.D. Bertrand and Benjamin Morris and Cam Hart for this. I'm not going to stop watching them because I'm pissed at what the leadership is doing. I'm going to still support them, right? I'm gonna do things to punish them. You know what I mean? But see, here's the thing. The administration knows that. So the people that can really do damage, it's not us. It's the people that swing the big sticks at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's who needs to step up and get them to wake up. I'm not giving you another dime until you fix this. You told me if we did this and I helped build this indoor thing, this, that, and the other thing, that you're going to do what it needs to take to go put a championship football team on the field.
Yep.
And you're not doing it. So the point is you still support the kids that are giving you everything they got to strap on that helmet and try to go win a championship. That's the point. And then say what you need to say to the quote-unquote leadership that continues to fail them. You got anything to add to that, Sean?
Look, man, At this point, I think Marcus Freeman is hell bent on finishing the 2023 season as a national champion.
Yep.
And whatever obstacle comes his way, he's looking to overcome it. And it doesn't change his mindset towards his football team or the outlook on the season. That's how he feels. That's how he feels. But like Brian pointed out, I bet you he's fouling it away. I guarantee you he's fouling it away. That's yeah, I understand, man. And that is the seesaw of being a Notre Dame fan. We're all going to get emotional, be upset, and then the first news that breaks about the next commit in the 2024 class, our excitement is going to start to
Yeah.
build back up.
Because that's ultimately what it's about, Sean.
Yeah.
You're not listening to this program because of your deep affection for Jack Swarbrick or Father Jenkins. You're doing
No.
it because of your affection for whatever player you grew up as a boy watching or as a young girl watching.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we got people in this chat. We got a husband and wife in this chat that sometimes the husband will put in things. Sometimes the wife puts in things. We got ladies that came up to us with things. Like we got all types of people we got fans from Spain, Germany. We look at the numbers, Sean, on the podcast, and you'll see like people in Indonesia watching the show, which probably like our military people working over there.
Yeah.
It's like we're not in this together because we love Father Jenkins or Jack
No.
Swarbrick.
No.
I did it because I loved Tony Rice and Rocket Ismail and Michael Stonebreaker and Todd Light. Do you know what it was like for me when I got to meet Todd Light for the first time? I'm trying to be professional. I'm like, oh my God, it's Todd Light. You know what I mean? And to be able to get to know him and these that's why we do this. And for some 10-year-old kid now that's a Notre Dame fan now, in 20 years, he's going to be listening to this channel because we're not going anywhere. And he's going to be talking about, man, I fell in love with Notre Dame. What I remember they're going to feel about the Notre Dame, the Benjamin Morrison Clemson game, right? The way that I feel about watching Rocket and Tony Rice do what they did to Miami, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Pat Terrell and Todd Light and Frank Stams and all those cats. They're going to be talking about, I fell in love the night I was watching with my dad, watching Benjamin Morrison. And, and that's what they're going, Logan Diggs and Audric Estime. And that's what we're doing it for. That's what the point is. That's what the point should be. All right. Next super chat from Cody Shreve. Thank you, Cody, very much. Why say we will match Alabama offer then balk at this buyout? Are the admin actively trying to crush Freeman? Dude has killed it and gets no support. I've seen a lot of people say that they're setting Marcus Freeman up to fail. I don't believe that to be true, at least not intentionally. I don't think they're purposely doing things like, hey, we don't like Marcus Freeman. We were forced to hire him, so let's get him to fail. I don't believe that to be true. This is what they did to Brian Kelly as well in this regard.
Yeah.
There was other things Brian Kelly did that were his fault. When Brian Kelly tells a Notre Dame coach who asks him to make a phone call to a wide receiver that had 1,000 yards last year in college football, Sean, and he says, I shouldn't have to beg a kid to come here. F that. That's not happening with Marcus Freeman. So, but some of the other things that Brian Kelly fought for, he didn't get, right? Like they did not win a championship under Brian Kelly because they didn't have a chef. That was bullcrap Brian Kelly excuses.
Yeah.
Right? Do what you need to do, then you can advocate for the chef. Right? But with Marcus Freeman, he is doing that. He is fighting those fights. The kids are putting in the work. But you're not carrying your end of the bargain now. And now it's time to hold your feet to the fire. You may disagree, Sean, and if you do, please speak on it. I don't think this is intentionally trying to sabotage Marcus Freeman. It's the byproduct is sabotaging Marcus Freeman, but I don't think it's intentionally against him.
Well, see, it's not. It's bigger than that. They've allowed it to get to the point where that can be brought into the conversation, and that's because of their optics. They've allowed that to become a part of the conversation, and there's going to be a segment of the fan base that starts thinking that way and starts to view things that way, and that's their own doing. That's their own doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't think there's a conspiracy. You hired him. I don't think you want this guy gone after 2 years or after 3 years. But at the same time, you're not doing your job.
Right.
You're not doing your job. And it was hidden, right? You know why it was hidden? And maybe they didn't expect this, Brian. It was hidden because you had a guy like Brian Kelly who was willing to accept and roll
Right.
with the punches and not work and use your lack of interest in investing in the football program as an excuse while he was able to still win 10 games a season and get to the college football playoffs a couple of times just to keep the fan base happy enough to keep buying into everything. But now you have this charismatic, exuberant head coach now that's willing to do everything and shining a light on the program, and you're unwilling to match his energy
Yep.
because you've never been willing to match energy. You've never been willing to really invest in the football program. So now he's out over his skis, head over heels to show everyone and show all of these young men, all of these teenagers, Notre Dame is the place to be. 4 stars, 5 stars. You can succeed here at Notre Dame. Don't believe what everybody's been saying. And he gets out there left alone and he's dangling
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yep.
You've left him dangling. He's going out there for you to destroy a narrative, and you left him hanging.
Yep. Yep.
And that's where we're at.
Sean, you nailed it. The previous head coach they were never exposed until he left and started doing this.
Yeah.
Right. But he never did it because he would always buy into the excuses. And it's just hard to recruit kids that, there's just, we can't go down to here and get these
Right.
kids or whatever the case
Right.
may be. So he propped that up.
Because it helped him with his tea times.
Right. There you go.
It helped him with his
There
tea
you go.
times.
Yep. There you go. Let's get to the next one, Sean, from AST12321 with a super chat. Thank you very much. This is the worst I've ever felt as a Notre Dame fan. This hit me in the hope for the future. If I'm Freeman, I'm looking for a new school if I keep winning. That's going to be the narrative that keeps coming out, people. I mean, it is, Sean. It just is.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. And look, that's not how Marcus Freeman is thinking about this. This is us projecting onto Marcus Freeman what we're thinking. People that say, Marcus Freeman is out. No, you're projecting your feelings onto him. That's not who he is. That doesn't mean at some point in time down the road, this stuff may not add up, But right now, his focus is on, okay, let me go get into great OC. We're going to score points next year. We're going to win. That's where he's at. And he's going to keep grinding. He's not going to look. Marcus Freeman's not going to get out there and say these things. He's not, right? He may not even believe him for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it because this is where we're at.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Sean, it's like there's just no reason for it. There's no reason for it. This isn't somebody with a checker pass that you're like, I don't know if you can do this because this cat, this guy. It's not like they're trying to hire the defensive coordinator, with his little issues he's had in the past, right? This is a dude that is considered one of the classiest dudes in the business, who, in all honesty, in a lot of ways, represents what Notre Dame says they're about. Intellectual guy, respectful, mild-mannered, but really talented and really intelligent. And successful. Isn't that what Notre Dame should want more of in this school? But apparently only alums get that kind of, push. So, whatever. Brandon Bradford, super chat. Thank you, Brandon. Is this Notre Dame setting Freeman up for failure? We addressed that. I don't think so. But I can understand the feeling about it. I do.
Absolutely.
I do, Brandon. I do. Sean Kelly says, I know you hate BK, but was he right in the end? About this? To a degree, yes. But here's the difference between what Brian Kelly said. Brian Kelly's words to me about this fall on deaf ears because you didn't do what you needed to do to win. Right? The chef ain't the one that caused you to make some of the dumb decisions you did as a coach. Not having a team chef isn't why you decided I'm going to keep Brian Van Gorder on my staff for 3 years. Right? I'm going to keep Paul Longo on my staff, and I'm going to be so unaware of what's going on in my program. I'm not going to know that half my team has to get a gym membership just to get a good enough workout in. right? That's not on the administration. That's not happening with Marcus Freeman and his coaches, right? So that's why this stings more, because it didn't matter if the administration did whatever Kelly needed him to do. He wasn't going to go out and get an off. Here's the thing. You know why this never would have happened under Brian Kelly? Because he never would have gone after somebody like Andy Ludwig.
Facts.
Next one from Bailey Brad. Thank you for the super chat, Bailey. Why did the men damage the Notre Dame brand over $3 million? Makes Notre Dame look cheap on the national stage. Spot on. And he's right, Sean. It crushes the brand.
Yeah.
It crushes the brand. When Marcus Freeman says, hey, Notre Dame will support you. Really?
Yeah.
Really, coach? That's what you said, Sean. Leaving him out, just kind of like, hey, Marcus, go hang over that ledge and do this. Take this risk.
Yeah.
We got your back. And he leans out. He looks back and like, where the freaking heck did everybody go? That's a great analogy you made, Sean. It's a great analogy you made. Brian B., thanks for doing the show. We all needed it. I feel better. I mean, well, I don't feel better. I feel like I've got out frustrations. I'm still pissed,
right?
But I feel like I got out some frustrations at least. So that's good. But we appreciate your super chat and your support. Charlie Weiss's last belt loop with a super chat. Thank you. Seems like the admin is more concerned about Tommy's success than Freeman's. Wow. Terrible how they treat Marcus Freeman. We know it will be a bad hire now. Disgusting. Okay, again, I don't get the last part. You can't, Tom, Charlie, I love you, man, but you always like got that last sentence that I'm like, I just can't go with you there, man. But Sean, he's got a lot of merit in that first sentence.
Yeah.
It seems like Jack Swarbrick has always cared more about doing what it takes to prop up Tommy Rees than Marcus Freeman.
Yep. 100%. I look. It's just not good. It's just not good. Just the things that were leaked, the autonomy and all of that type of stuff that
Marcus Freeman doesn't get the job if Tommy doesn't stay.
All of that type of stuff.
So Marcus owes his whole career to Tommy Rees.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not a shot at Tommy. Tommy wasn't the one telling people that. I just want to make sure that's clear. But that's the bull crap that happened and what we've been dealing with. We'll match whatever we need to do to keep Tommy Rees. Marcus Freeman didn't ask you to do that. I promise you, Marcus Freeman didn't ask you to do that. So, yeah. Next super chat. Mike Nolan says, can't believe that this is the only reason. Seems impossible. Was just Notre Dame's side. Makes Notre Dame look like amateur hour. I've had a lot of people say there's got to be more to it. Look, y'all, this is it. I did my homework. I promise you this. Look, we're frustrated right now, but I promise you, Sean knows who I talk to. We didn't just hear this news and then jump on this and say, hey, we're feeling a certain way about it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a certain way because everything that was reported nationally is exactly what I've been able to confirm on my end. And it's like, wow. So I was honestly, when I started doing talk, I honestly was reaching out.
Can I read this tweet from Josh Newman, which I think is spot on. Josh Newman, he is the Utah Utes beat writer for the Salt Lake Tribune. He just tweeted this out an hour ago. One thought before bearing down to do some writing. You do not very event on campus unless you think that deal is getting done. Woof. Okay, bye for now.
Sean, you broke up about halfway through the beginning. Can you read that again? The first part of it cut out. We didn't get that first part.
Okay, once again, it's from Josh Newman. He covers the Utah Utes for the Salt Lake paper out there, Salt Lake Tribune. He says, you do not very publicly have the potential next offensive coordinator appear at an athletics event on campus unless you think that deal is getting done.
Yep.
Woof. Okay, bye for now.
Yep.
This is the guy that covers Utah. That's basically saying you embarrassed yourself.
Yep. You clowned yourself.
You did all of that public showing off.
Yep.
Only to have the people upstairs say, nope, we don't care.
Yeah. Now, that's not what Marcus Freeman, he wasn't showing off Andy
Ludwig.
No,
but I'm just saying.
That's the perception, right? To your
Yeah.
point, right? But you don't do that if you don't bring them on campus if you're not feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
You don't push back other coaches that want to come interview if you don't feel pretty good about it. I kept being told by sources today, feel great, feel great. They knew he wanted this job. I don't think it crossed people's minds that a buyout was going to be the reason that this didn't get done. Because they just assumed the school has said they got our backs. So, of course, they're going to take a buyout.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Well, he's got to go win and prove something. You can't win if you won't support him. That's not how it works. You hire him to do a job. You give him all the resources he needs to do it. You don't say, go win first, then we'll support you. No. You give him the tools to be successful. And then if he doesn't do the best with those tools, then you say, hey, we got to find somebody else.
And according to Josh Newman, Andy Ludwig arrived back in Salt Lake on Sunday.
It'd have been Saturday night.
Saturday night. I'm sorry. And Cal Whittingham was in Arizona at the Super Bowl. So they didn't even speak until tonight.
Right.
That was their first meeting. So, and that was with anticipation of Andy Ludwig being able to tell him, thank you, I'm going to Notre Dame.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. It's a clown show. Joe Papiti says, thank you for the super chat, Joe. Unbelievably upset. This is such a bad look. Right now, our entire class is at risk. If you ask me, I just don't get it. Wasn't it like $450K? No, I was a lot higher than that. It was 2.8 million is what we were told. Here's the thing, though. The entire class is in the risk because Marcus Freeman's still your head coach. And that's what's going to keep these kids here. It's not what the school's doing. It's what Marcus Freeman's doing.
Yeah.
Joe Papini also had another super chat, Sean. He said they want their cake and eat it too. They want sellouts and the best TV deal, but they don't put it back to the team. Hate to say it, but typical religious organization in my experience. I mean, that's a little unfair. But, it's a bad look either way. It's a really bad look. Yeah, but he's right about the first part anyway.
Yeah.
They want they want the sellouts. They want the TV deal. They want the max deals. They want to charge a lot of money for this, that, and the other thing. But they're not willing to say, hey, but we're going to take that money and say, hey, Sean, like, you know how I run my business.
Yeah.
When we had a successful year in 2021,
you put it right back into the business.
Right back into it. Hired Ryan, started having you do stuff. Went and got Sean Stiers, right? Did all those things because, hey, we're going to make the product even better. Right. And I've been, and we, Irish Breaks, have been rewarded for that because our company grew, everything grew because we started doing a better job. And that's what I keep saying. Anyone that knows how to run a business, and this is a big problem in with academic institutions, Sean, is there's too many people that are in charge of because schools are businesses now. Let's be real about it. Schools are businesses now. And the reason so many of them struggle financially and why so many schools went broke during COVID when the government money and different things stopped coming in, is because they don't know how to run a freaking business. They're living outside their means, relying so much on not the government money. I'm sorry, the TV money, and the 100,000 people sell out stadiums were not there anymore because they were living basically paycheck to paycheck, like you see with a lot of professional athletes that, hey, I'm making $100 million, so I'm living like a dude that makes $100 million, but someday I'm not gonna be making $100 million, and then I got to sell everything. You know what I mean? And that's the problem is they're just not good business people. Right? Like, hey, I'm gonna spend now because I know that this is gonna end up paying off big time in the end. And they're just not willing to do that. That's the only thing I can think of. I just can't think of anything else. Charlie Weiss's last belt loop with another one. The truth is they want Freeman to fail. They'll go 7-5, and next year with Watt and Parker, fire him and bring in another old guy that brings an average kid that they don't like Freeman and what he can do. Again, Charlie, I get you're upset, man, but that's not it. If they didn't want Marcus Freeman to be the head coach, he wouldn't be the head coach. And they'd be doing this to whoever they hired. If they'd have hired Luke Fickell or Dave Clawson or Matt Campbell, they'd be doing the same thing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not against Marcus Freeman personally. It's not, I promise you.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have hired him if they didn't. But the point is, though, Sean, you said it earlier. But what they're doing is creating this feeling
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like there was something I did in my career one time where, I did something and it was said back to me that I did something, but I didn't do it. And so my dad said to me, he was like, yeah, you didn't do that, but you still put yourself in a situation where that can be
It can be
perceived
perceived.
that you did it.
Yeah.
That's on you.
Yeah.
How they handled it, that's on them. But what
Yeah.
you did to put yourself in that situation, even though you technically didn't do anything wrong,
Yeah.
you knew you shouldn't have done what you did, that you shouldn't even been in that situation. That's on you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they're doing. I don't think they're trying to undermine Mark. I think the higher ups I know, they want Marcus to succeed. They just want him to succeed in their little way of doing it, and not willing to say, well, this is just the way it has to be done.
Right.
And it's just, and then come out and tell us that that's not really what they're doing. That's my thing, Sean. You said at the beginning, just be honest.
That's all.
Just stop lying to us. Just say, hey, y'all, look, y'all, we're okay with 9-3. Someone's getting embarrassed. We're okay. We're okay. Matt D with a super chat. Appreciate you, Matt. The administration just proved that we are the Stanford of the Midwest. Football is clearly not important. 2.8 million. Come on, man. I mean, I can't say I necessarily disagree with that, Sean. I don't, yeah. I mean, look, if you want to be like the Ivy League, just go join the Ivy League. The Ivy League does not lie. They do not
No.
lie to people. Hey, academics are recreational activity here in the Ivy League.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't lie about it. They don't pretend there's something different. So just do that.
And just going back to Josh Newman's tweet, I think it's important to recognize that I think the actions for those involved that were at the game, I think they did feel like at some point it was a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
I venture to say that Marcus Freeman at some point felt like it was a done deal. I think he felt like the buyout was going to be taken care of. And when it wasn't, I'm sure it was a jolt in a way, a revelation. Like, oh, really? Because from the Utah side, they felt like, okay, we see where this is trending. We it looks like he's I doubt people in Utah thought Notre Dame would balk at 2.8
Yeah,
million.
they thought he was gone.
Yes.
I mean, they were already right. He's gone.
Yeah.
And they were, because Sean, in 2010, Utah came here to play Notre Dame. And I've said this before. They were some of the best fans I ever met. Just nice and polite and just, they knew this is Notre Dame, man. We're Utah. They knew. They were cool with it. They understood. Yeah, of course it's Notre Dame called, man. We get it. We got nothing but love for you. And then bam. And then think of what they did to Andy Ludwig, man. The position he's now in. All the players know that he basically wanted to take this job. So got a USC fan speaking truth tonight, Sean. Roger Dodgers, our resident USC fan, he said USC fans ghosted the program for bad leadership. Notre Dame fans may look into that. Facts. Facts. Brandon Debelik said Sean Gleason, come on down. It's an offensive coordinator candidate. Brian B. also said, what do you tell the kids on the team? You know what, though? For me, it's you just tell them, look, honestly, something like this can really create an us against the world mentality. And, Sean, that's what Miami did. That's what Jimmy Johnson did.
Yeah, he did.
He did that masterfully.
Masterfully.
I would encourage Marcus to look into that. Hey, look, everybody's against us, even our own people.
Yeah.
So this is about us.
And Jimmy was smart enough to get out of there.
Yeah.
Just before
everything
started to break down.
Yep. Donaher, the Bulldog, with a super chat. He said, sorry to say it, but this speaks volumes to control, and an audit should be done on monies made and where it's going. Joe Papiti said, and we were thinking we were getting an NFL coach. I'm not sure what that means. Is he talking about the Leftwich stuff? Because we never thought that. And we've said before the Byron Leftwich thing was always a fake. So I don't know where that came from. Charlie Weiss's last belt loop. Do donors now call Jack and ask what the F is going on? They better. Those are the only people that really have any say. Let's be real, Sean. 80,000 people are still going to show up for the big games next year.
Yeah.
They're still going to tailgate. Because why? Because they love this institution. It's like it's an abusive relationship. That's what we're all in an abusive relationship with Notre Dame. They beat us, they slap us around, they disrespect us, then they tell us they're sorry and they still love us, and we say, okay, we love you too. And we keep taking it. We keep taking it, we keep taking it. It's an emotionally abusive relationship, not physically, emotionally. Because we love it. And at the end of the day, there's the kids. Because we love the kids. We're always going to be here for the kids. And I'm talking about Logan Diggs, Tobias Merriweather, Joe Walt, Zeke Carell, Benjamin Morrison, Cam Hart, Xavier Watts. That's what I'm talking about. Because we're still going to have their back.
Yeah.
So, and they know it. They know it. They know it. That's why they keep doing what they're doing. So the people that can really make changes are the people that control the pocketbook. Stop giving your money. If you're a big donor and you don't like what's happening, see, the problem is there are some donors, Sean, that are just total, hey, we can never say a bad thing. We'll just believe whatever we're told. There's that too. Until the donors that aren't that way step up and say, hey, you want my money? For what? I gave you $10 million last year. You couldn't use a little sum of that to go get freaking Andy Ludwig from Utah?
Yeah.
So what am I giving my money for? So you couldn't even get a buyout for an endowed position. The salary is freaking endowed, Sean. Meyer03 with a super chat. Notre Dame paid Charlie $19 million to not coach here. We can't pay $3 million for the guy we want. That's facts, Sean.
That's facts.
That's facts. Thomas Bolin with a super sticker. Thank you, Thomas, very, very much for that. Charlie Weiss's last belt loop's on fire tonight, Sean. Lou Holtz 2.0. We've seen it before. Get ready for Marcus Freeman hit piece. They will lie about this man. It's terrible to see this. Bro, you're taking this a little too personally when it comes to the Marcus Freeman angle. And I appreciate you, buddy, and I appreciate the support and all the super chats. But that ain't it, man. Like, this is wrong, but we need to be able to stay on. Because, see, here's what happens. When you start kind of going off on a tangent like that, we're losing sight of what's going on. They want us to go on that tangent because they know it's not true. The one thing that I never get bothered by when people accuse me of things, Sean, is when they accuse me of something that I know is not true. You can't remember that.
Yeah.
I know that's not true. So you call me, that doesn't mean anything. So when we lose focus but where it stings a little bit. So like if my wife says something to me and I know I didn't do it, I don't get nervous. I didn't do it. What I got to be worried about? When my wife hits me between the eyes with like, you're doing this and I know I did it. It's like, oh, that's not a good feeling right there, man. I want to get out of this conversation right now. You know what I mean? Come to me. It's like that great Bill Burr skit. Did you ever see that one? Sean, I got to send that to you. The one where he's talking about how, he's always getting in arguments with his lady, and he always ends up like losing the arguments because they'll start coming up with some crazy stuff, and then he calls him a name, and then he lost the argument. He's like, stay in the lane. He goes, the last thing that they want you to do is to go off tangent. Stay on the point. You've won the fight. He goes, they'll throw in some insults here. You just bob and weave. You know what I mean? Take it, and because you got the W, you got the win.
Yeah.
And the last thing that they want you to do is to come at them with what they know to be true. Right? But when you go on tangents like this, it's not true. So Jack Swarbrick doesn't have to be worried about you saying you ultimately want Marcus Freeman to fail because he doesn't.
Right.
He wants Marcus Freeman to succeed. He's just not willing to do what it takes, and the administration not willing to do what it takes to make that happen to the degree that they need to. And so stay. I mean, we got to stay on point about this. It's one thing. Look, I get it, man. We're upset, Charlie. I'm with you, buddy. Sean's upset. I'm upset. Yeah. We're fired up. That's why it's 1:00 in the morning, and us and 882 people right now are still on this chat because we're fired up. But we got to stay on point, though, right? Stay focused on what the reality is. Them wanting to purposely do this to Marcus, it ain't it. It ain't it. There's lots to be pissed about. That's just not where we need to be. in my opinion. Sean, do you agree with me on that, Sean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm right there with you, Brian. I'm right there with you. I'm not about to go over the top about conspiracy theories and what people are trying to do to Marcus Freeman. I think it's something that's always been there, and I just think it's being exposed.
Yeah.
And Marcus Freeman he's just the next head coach in line to have to deal with it.
Yeah. Let's get to the next one here, Sean. We got one from Joe Papiti. Says they won't spin it. They'll just refuse comment because they think they're above it all. They'll spin it. Now, they won't do it directly, Joe, but trust me, they'll get their puppets to go out there and say what needs to be said.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that. Jim Howard in the Super Chat, Indian administration wants all the benefits without any sacrifices. That is a great way of putting it, Sean.
it is a great way of putting it.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what? That's
very well
unfortunate,
said.
right? That's really unfortunate. Man, they want to be recognized as, yeah, we're the administration of Notre Dame. And the truth of the matter is, it's like no one cares who you are.
Yep.
Like no one cares who you are. If you walk past us on a Saturday at a game, we wouldn't even recognize you. But let one
Yep.
of the former players walk by. Everybody's going crazy. Like, recognize what really drives the bus here. You know, I
Yep. Jim, that's a great point, man. Joe Papiti says, think what this does for Utah recruiting. And that's exactly how that got out tonight. It's
mhm.
exactly how that got out tonight. David Carpenter with Super Chat. This is George O'Leary in reverse. George misrepresented himself to Notre Dame. And here I feel like Notre Dame has misrepresented themselves to me. I wish it was easy to part ways with Notre Dame. Hard to be a fan tonight. I get it.
I get
I
it
get
too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I get that feeling. I would say I don't think George O'Leary misrepresented himself. I think his resume had been that way for so long. I don't even think he realized it, to be honest, completely honest with you. It was kind of a minor thing. It wasn't even to me like that big of a thing, but yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Let's get to the next one, Sean. I'm with you, David. I feel your pain, man. I got nothing for you. I mean, I feel your pain.
I was about
Joe
to say, what
Papiti,
else can you say?
yeah, Joe Papiti and Charlie Weiss's last belt loop, man. There's a couple more
They're
that
on a roll tonight.
we could have started a buyout fund, an Andy Ludwig buyout fund. We might have got there a little bit. We we love you, Joe. This was most obvious fit and perfect hire. They let Brian chump change from an NCAA big time program standpoint get in the way. Coaches and kids will be exiting stage left soon. Okay, I'll say this again, Sean. Players don't react the way that we do. They're much more calm. We said every time Notre Dame loses, how many kids are going to decommit after this loss? It was like
Yeah.
none,
Yeah.
right? Because they don't react the way we do. Okay. They look at it differently. If anything, Sean, this is going to force a lot of them to just kind of pull even closer together. That's
I
just,
agree with that.
yeah. Because that's what the teams back in the 80s and 90s did. They knew the school wasn't supporting them. They knew that. Didn't matter because it was about them.
Yeah.
Because if they won, no one's going to talk about no one's going to talk about who the president was in 1988. Nobody's talking about who the AD was or whoever else was in the business office. They're going to talk about Tony Rice and Pat Terrell and Todd Light and Frank Stams and George Williams and Arnold Ollie and the late Andre Jones and Michael Stonebreaker and Tony Rice and Rocket Ismail and Ricky Waters and Andy Heck and Dean Brown. And that's who we're going to remember, not the other crap. And that's where they kind of come together.
Yeah.
So I feel your pain, but players don't react that way. And because they're usually, honestly, part of the reason they're on that stage, honest, because they're usually mentally tougher than most of us,
Yeah.
right? And have a different focus. Derek Jancart said Jack Swarbrick is the Neil Huntington of ADs. That's obviously the Pirates GM who was great at drafting big time prospects and then trading them away because he didn't want to pay them. So yes, you're absolutely right. Fatfish says if $2 million was too much, what was the number they realistically expected? I mean, most guys have buyouts of like $1 million.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean, this is a big buyout. It is. I'm not going to lie, but it shouldn't be too big for Notre Dame. It's the difference between it being big and too big. That's the difference. That's the difference. All right. Let's get to the next one here. We got one from Charlie Weiss's last belt loop. Charlie, I'm actually gonna buddy. Okay, I'm gonna. So he says I will continue to support IB and Coach Freeman, but after he leaves, I don't know. Man, you'll always be here with us. You can't leave us, man. You know, because you'll be you'll feel better tomorrow. I promise you. Hopefully, you stay mad, but just in the right channel in the right direction. Joe Papiti, doesn't this fly in the face of what Freeman stated his goal is to always go after the best? Yeah, but it's not Marcus Freeman making that decision not to do that, though.
Right.
Yeah, you know. And Joe Papiti also says, does this bring the Akron head coach back into play? That's Joe Moorhead. Hey, Joe Moorhead just got an extension, which means his buyout just went up. When they do these extensions, buyouts go up. So,
Yep.
nope. No,
That's
and he
Joe
was never a
Moorhead
top. Go ahead, Sean.
leveraging his name being mentioned.
100%.
Yes.
100%. He was never a top guy. He was a guy that was vetted, but it was never that to that degree. It was never to that degree. All right, let's get to the next one from Thomas Bolin with another super chat. Thank you. I'm a longtime member of the Soren Society where the entire entry point is $2,000. I sent them a message given the situation. I am done. Others should let them know. I mean, honestly, Thomas, it's people like you that are going to make this known. Hey, I'm sick of spending money. I spend because here's what bothers me about these academic folks is they think that they're the reason that Notre Dame has all the nice bells and whistles.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. If you didn't have the Notre Dame football team, you'd literally be just like the Catholic University of America. You'd just be like Loyola. That's who you'd be. You are what you are because of the football program. That's who you are. That's why you have what you have. It's because the hundreds of millions of dollars that the football team brings in. Not because of you. And yeah. Thomas, that's how you hit him, Sean. That right there's how you hit him. David Carper says, my life as a Notre Dame fan is one of being made fun of me for being a fan, and I was willing to bear the embarrassment, but I was proud of being a fan because of what Notre Dame stood for. Now I'm embarrassed. In some ways, you should be embarrassed. In other ways, there's still things that Notre Dame stands for that you should still be proud of, and especially when it comes to the players. I mean, that's the thing is we've got to be able to separate, and that's the challenge, though, Sean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The challenge is being able to say, I'm going to hit you here because it only affects you here, but I'm still not going to do this because then I'm punishing the players for it's like punishing kids for what the parents do, right? I'm not doing that, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. Here's a Fat Fish with a super chat. Thank you, Fat Fish. You have the perfect fit as a head coach, the perfect leader to represent your program moving forward, and your program is hobbled by administrators. I mean,
that's fair.
Spot on, man. Spot on. Caleb Collins. If I'm Marcus Freeman, I'm gonna leave at the end of the next major head coaching position. Leave at the next major head coaching position. I would want to be supported by my school. I don't know if he's going to do that or not, but I mean, if he wins, could you blame him?
Yeah.
Leemrock with a super sticker. Thank you very, very much for that. Craig E. Sebring. So now who do we go get as OC? Craig, we will have that conversation over the next couple days. So because we're doing this show tonight, I'm going to give Ryan a chance to vent tomorrow a little bit. And then after I let Ryan vent, we'll talk about some candidates and who Notre Dame should look for. So we'll have that conversation tomorrow. Patrick Poon, will this affect financial support for Notre Dame? I don't know. It should. I mean, that's the only way anything changes, Sean, right? I mean, that's it.
It has to be the way you kind of vent your frustrations. It's through the pockets.
That's it.
Let them know.
It's the only way people like that. It's the same thing with politicians. It's the same thing with business people. They're going to do whatever they want to do until you start saying, I'm going to hit you where it hurts you the most. Sean, whenever I've talked about sanctions, what the NCAA should do to schools, what do I always lead with? Financial sanctions.
Yep.
They don't care if you don't, they don't care if you say, hey, we're going to make you vacate when so.
Right. They don't care.
We're not giving up the gate from those games.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not giving you the TV revenue back. Say you played an ineligible player in those 2 seasons. You got to give us the TV revenue you made from those 2 seasons because you defrauded us.
Right.
Guess what? People be a little bit more strict about, let's make sure we don't put an ineligible player on the field.
Right.
But that's the only way you can get them. It's the only way you can get them. Dark Moon Blade, hate to put you on the spot, but where do you think Notre Dame's OC search goes now? I wanted to thank you for the super chat, Dark Man Blue, but as I said earlier, we'll get to this tomorrow. So I promise you we'll have a conversation on this tomorrow. Go Irish says, seems like it was pretty quick. No, we won't pay the buyout. Negotiation decision made today. Thoughts about who Jack consulted with before making the decision, wealthy alums would have covered. I don't know who they consulted. I don't. And here's the thing. We're fired up and ticked off right now, but what I don't want to do is speak on things that I don't know. I don't know if Jack consulted and he don't. I know there's some that he didn't consult, but that doesn't mean he didn't go to the big ones.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to say he didn't because I can't speak to that. I can't speak to that. So, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. We're understanding right now why Utah has so much coaching continuity because they're getting these
smart.
dudes. Yes, big buyouts.
Yeah,
big buyouts. This is very smart. Brandon Bradford, which is why a team like Utah has won back-to-back Pac-12 championships over programs with way more resources like Oregon and USC and UCLA. Brandon Bradford, we finally get someone that understands the school, and for this to happen to him is ridiculous. I will forever be Notre Dame faithful, but this hurts. I think that's a better way to talk about the impact on Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
Is this right here is much more along the lines of more, this is spot on because you do have a guy that gets this institution. You do have a guy that will not make excuses for lack of success, even though he knows what really went down.
Yeah.
And you're not doing what you need to do to support him. You have someone who literally converted to freaking Catholicism when he became the head coach at Notre Dame. I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? But and this is how you do them.
Oh,
right?
man.
This is how you do them. So that's a great point, Brandon. Charlie Weiss's last belt loop. A lot of my super chats, I was pissed. My bad, guys. Hey, man, we know.
No,
we know.
we appreciate
we know.
your authenticity and your emotions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fat Fish with another super chat. To be honest, it doesn't surprise me anymore to hear Notre Dame is cheap. After working in South Bend in 15 years, they are unwilling to pay their bills elsewhere. And he ain't wrong. Tyler Evans super chat. The Marcus Freeman and Andy Ludwig combination felt like Jordan and Pippen, and Notre Dame paid $3 million. $3 million. That's too much. I mean, Tyler. I mean, Sean. I mean, I'll tell you what, man. This is why we wanted to read some of these super chats tonight because this is just spot on. This is just. I mean, some of this stuff is just y'all voicing your frustrations, and we feel you. But some of the stuff is y'all are just. I mean, y'all are nailing it. Y'all are making the points better than we are, as good as we are in some instances. I mean, you guys are absolutely nailing it. Let's get to the next one. Cade Cortez, thank you for this very much, Cade. Appreciate the super sticker. Justin Hunter says with a super chat, thank you, Justin. Is this a John Jenkins or Jack problem? Both.
Both.
Yeah, it's both. Joe Papiti said, should have said, thank you for another super chat, Joe. We appreciate you, man. Should have said, and we honestly thought we were in the running to get a current NFL coach to be the OC, and the school won't step up for the buyout. What a joke. They were never in the running, though. That's what I keep saying. I've said this like for over a week now. That was a fake report. That was a bad intel. They were never in the running for Byron Leftwich, and there was a brief conversation. That was it. He wasn't coming to college. They weren't going to pursue it. Brian Johnson was never in the running. So that's what I'm saying is they weren't in the running for that. So I get what you're saying, but like they just weren't in the running for that. Cade Cortez with another super chat. Sean, thank you for this, Cade. If it's nothing against Marcus Freeman, what is it? $3 million seems like the drop in the bucket for Notre Dame money. Does the admin just not care? Maybe that's it, Sean. Maybe it's this fake notion of, I can't do that because I'm such and such, and I believe in this standard, so I can't It's like that bullcrap that Brian Kelly pulled from recruiting. We're Notre Dame. I shouldn't have to convince a kid to come here.
Yeah.
You're using that as an excuse for your laziness. When in reality, you don't want to fight. I don't want to fight.
Yeah, I wonder how many football people are actually part of the administration. Because I hope they didn't look at Andy Ludwig and say, well, is he really worth this buyout? Like, what has he really done to be worth all of this money?
Well, if they'd have asked me, I'd have told him exactly what he's done to be worth all that money.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the fact is, your head coach felt this is what he needed to be successful. And you were saying, "No, sorry, bro. Can't do it for you. Can't do it for you. It's too much. Too rich for our blood."
Oh, man.
Beefeater says, thank you for super chat, Beefeater. Not happy about this, but 2.5 million salary and a 3 to 4 million buyout equals 6.5 million for 1 year of Ludwig, or 9 million if he stays for 2 years. Does that make sense? The only comp I could find is the 750 OU paid to Ole Miss for Jeff Levy. I don't know where you're getting $2.5 million salary from. The dude made $820,000 last year. He wasn't leaving for $2.5 million. That's not what they were offering him to get there. And he also wasn't getting $3 to $4 million buyout. So unless you're talking about the two coaches, and here's the thing, does that make sense? Hell yes, it makes sense if it means you got a chance to win a championship. Hell to the yes, it does.
See, this is the problem. They have the fan base thinking like this.
Yes.
See, because the SEC fan base, this would be offensive.
Yes.
SEC fans will be offended by this. And somehow, we've convinced the fan base to act as if we're the sisters of the poor.
Right.
Well, once again, Notre Dame is sitting on a mint. Like, are you kidding me? I don't care if it was $15 million.
Right.
As someone just said, they paid $19 million to a coach not to coach at Notre Dame. They wanted to get rid of him that bad.
Yep.
And we're sitting here complaining about $6 million. There is no devil advocate. Stop trying to make Notre Dame look better in this situation. There is no look better in this situation.
Yep.
There is none. It's a bad look. It's a very bad look.
Frustrating. Jake, and that's where you lose, Sean. Once you get the people to buy the lie.
Yes.
And you have no hope. And we could have a whole different conversation on this one outside of football, but that's exactly where you're at. Once people buy the lie, you've lost.
I guarantee you there was not one person in Alabama's administration that was worried about buyout when it came to Tommy Rees. I don't care what the buyout was. If Nick Saban said he wanted him, cut the check.
Yep. 100%. Justin Knox with a super chat. Thank you, Justin. Has that ship totally sailed, or could Notre Dame save face somehow and cite miscommunication and reconcile and just pay the buyout and bring Ludwig in still? I don't know. I'd hope so. I would really hope so. But I don't know. I really don't. And then it's kind of like, okay, then it's like, okay, now you look like you got punked into it. You know what I mean? Which is fine. Right. I don't care as long as you get the right guy. Like, I don't care how you get there, man. Sean, I don't care how you get there. Just make it happen. BDA King, Brian, where's Parker on Freeman's pecking order for the job? It's been reported he's on the list, but not at the top. Do you believe that is true? And is Freeman getting any pushback from the admin about promoting him? I mean, they probably love it because then it's cheaper for him. I don't know that he's getting pushback on it. I've never heard anything like that. I think Jared Parker, if Marcus Freeman felt that Jared Parker was the absolute number one guy for the job, he would have just promoted him.
I think he would have promoted him.
Yes. I think he understands that Jared Parker is an excellent coach. I think he's very high on Jared Parker, but he also understands that there's some guys out there with a lot more experience and a track record. And that's the thing is, they brought in Colin Klein, right? But from what I'm told, kind of Ludwig was that guy sort of from the beginning. He was a little hesitant to look at Notre Dame at first because he was happy there. But then, you talk and you're like, man, this is an attractive job. They kind of liked that experience part of it. Jared Parker doesn't have that same level of experience. And again, it goes back to what I think Marcus Freeman believes this team can be the next 2 years. Does he have faith in Jared Parker? Absolutely. This is me speaking now. And I know that he has faith in Marcus and Jared Parker. That I know. Mm-hmm. This is now Brian Driscoll giving his opinion. Okay. I also believe that he believes Jared Parker would be even better in a couple years getting to work with someone like Andy Ludwig. That's what I also think.
Yeah.
Which is called being a sharp, forward-thinking head football coach. Let's go win with Andy Ludwig. He's 58. We win here. He retires, and then bam, I'm ready to go promote my guy. and we're ready to keep rocking and rolling. That's called being a good coach.
Yeah.
But it didn't get done. Cuba Puig says, my question is, where do you even go from here? Man, I'm going to bed after this. That's where I'm going from here. But after that, look, here's where you go from here. Here's what Marcus Freeman does. Okay. Okay. This is what you want to do. All right. I'm going to go out and get the next best guy I can get. And to me, if I'm him, I'm going to make them have to reject all my choices. I'm still going out trying to find the best guy that I can.
Facts.
I'm going to make you say, no, I can't afford that.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to put their feet to the fire. 100% what I'm doing. Zach Nichols says, any chance public pressure gets admin to reassess?
I doubt it.
Public pressure means nothing to them.
No.
Money pressure is what matters. That's the only public that would have any influence, is that right there. Ed3 says, do you think we can get Paul Feinbaum to publicly humiliate Notre Dame for this cheap, embarrassing blunder to shame them into making up for this? He's going to do that
an opportunity. Yeah. He won't miss an opportunity.
This will be discussed on the Paul Feinbaum show, I'm sure. But do I want him to do it? I don't want him to do it. I mean, I don't particularly care for that show very much. But that's going to happen. John, that's going to happen, man.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, dude. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Casa Hodge with a super chat. Thank you very, very much. Brian and Sean, is there a slim possibility the Notre Dame administration change their minds due to the media heat and pay the buyout, or the administration staying firm regardless of the outside noise? Let me explain something to y'all. Notre Dame gives zero Fs about the media. Zero. The local media. They don't care. Why do you think they always leak everything to the national media? Not us. They don't care about us.
Right.
Let's be real about that. We're a means to an end. That's it. But they don't care what we say. As well, they care what we say from the standpoint of, Sean, is there may be like a, hey, you can't say that. But they're not going to care from the standpoint of, gee, we should rethink our decision because Brian Driscoll thinks this is a stupid decision.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. They don't care what you think. You think they're going to care what we think?
Man.
And you guys make them a lot more money than we do. So they don't care. CBAM says, I don't care for BK, but this seems like a flashback. Admin doesn't support the football team. And in that regard, you're spot on. Cesar Penalilio, I think it's Penalilio, Penalilio. I hope I'm saying that right, Cesar. I'm really sorry if I get that wrong. I appreciate the fact you are doing this live program with honest opinions and analysis of the entire situation. It does suck, to be honest. Greetings from Southern Cal. The coffee mug is awesome. Appreciate you, Cesar. Cesar got the coffee mug because he is a member of the Shamrock Club, Sean. I believe that, or the Gold Club or the Blue Club. But we have the Booster Club where you can support Irish Breakdown. And if you're part of the Shamrock Club, you get, not only do you get the free content, it's meant to support us, but we give you an IB mug club.
Yeah.
IB Club mug. You get that for free. And it's a coffee mug that I have, but it's just got IB Club on it, and only IB Club members have it. I don't have one. Sean doesn't have one. It's only for IB Club members. And then if you're if you get the Blue Club, you also get that. If you join the Gold Club, you actually get that plus an IB shirt. So it looks like this, Sean, but instead of just the IB, it says IB and it says Club, Gold Club on it underneath right here. And that, again, only goes, I don't have one. Sean doesn't have one. Ryan doesn't have one. Vince doesn't have one. It only goes to Gold Club members. So appreciate that, Cesar, very, very much. Matt D says, is Swarbrick calling the shots or is Kevin White back? Very well played, my man. Very, very well played.
Oh, wow.
Irish Mills 540. Do you think Marcus Freeman will ultimately win despite the admin? I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he can. I do. I have a lot of faith in Marcus Freeman. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, and I could be proven wrong, but I mean, I'm not backing down from that, Sean. And until the evidence tells me otherwise. Yeah. But I believe he can win. I believe he can win in spite. I mean, we always knew the school was never going to support him the way they needed to fully.
Yeah.
I thought they'd at least do something like this. So, but yeah, I think he can. I do. I think he can. Phil Anderson with a super chat. Thank you, Phil, very, very much. Phil says, live out here in Utah, flying high Friday night. Went out with all my Utah friends. Now I have to deal with all of them giving me grief. Yeah, I feel you, man. Everybody thought it was a done deal. Everybody did. So I feel for you, man. We got your back, though. Just know it could be worse, man. You could be in Ohio, deal with Ohio people, and losing to Ohio State coach. It could be worse, man. Joe Papiti says, Sean, if this was in the SEC, this would cause a president to get fired. You know it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that before, right? Remember the whole thing with Gordon Gee and Jim Tressel? Like when the president of the school was like, I just don't want him to fire me. Remember that? You remember that, like during that whole scandal thing at the very beginning? And there was the heat about Jim Tressel and Gordon Gee, the president, was like, basically was saying, I don't want Jim Tressel to fire me. You think I'm going to fire him? I don't want him to fire me. So, yes, you were spot on. Go Irish says, such a bad financial decision. This is a net present value calculation. Notre Dame makes way more off of $2.8 million in the future than it's worth today. Spot on. And look, there's always a risk, right, Sean? I mean, but I guarantee you, if you never take a risk, then you're never going to have that
reward. Going to have reward. Yeah.
Right. I mean, look, you know the risk that we took to get this thing going.
Yeah.
Right. And but it's worth it. You got to be willing to take some risk if you want to get that ultimate reward. TJ Stalika says, thank you for super chat, TJ. Why not pay it and put the same buyout in the new contract? Yeah, I get you. I mean, why didn't Tommy Rees have that kind of buyout? You went and got him from LSU last year. You hired him before. You let everybody in the universe know you hired him before the head football coach. So why didn't he have a big old buyout like that? And why didn't you use that money for that? Mike Farino, thank you, Mike. Feel for y'all. This is one of our fellow Ohio State fans. Him and Archer are two of our Ohio State fans. We have a few actually in the chat. Fear for y'all. Can't imagine what it would be like if this happened to Ohio State. Pretty sure there would be riots by the fan base against the administration. You are not wrong. They wouldn't stand for this at Ohio State. You're not wrong. CBAM says, let's take the SEC to hear Brian and Sean's level of anger and disappointment. 1 in 10. Is there someone trying to sabotage the football team, the administration? See here. Let's take a sec to hear Brian and Sean's level of anger and disappointment. Sean, what are you on a 1 to 10?
Oh, I'm off the meter. I'm past 10. I'm past 10. It's just a little late, and I've kind of calmed down. The later it's gotten, but I'm past.
Sean's going to hop out of bed, fired up tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be rejuvenated, and
he's going to scare his daughter in the morning. He's going to wake up and yell something.
I'm sure Malik is going to get me even more fired up as he rants tomorrow. It is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yep, I get it. Matt, 2011 GT. I'm 43 and I'm done. I'll pay the monthly fee, but I'm done. I hope you don't, man. I hope you stick with us at least, because we'll shoot you straight. Stick with your community and Notre Dame fans. But I feel your pain, man. I do. But don't give up on the kids, and don't give up on us, man. So we'll see it through. Fat Fish with another one. South Bend and Notre Dame have been consumed by none. For so long, they don't know how to appreciate a bold leader when they have one. Abusive relations. Yeah, I'm with you. Tommy Guns with a super chat. Thank you, Tommy. I ate my feelings tonight with some carne asada fry. Sean, look up Taco Burrito King in Des Plaines. Cali burrito is awesome. This sucks. And I got paid. Dude paid me. C-Bam paid me for spelling my name wrong. I appreciate that, C-Bam, but you did not need to do that. I spelled your name wrong, Brian. Sorry, LOL. Hey, you're good, man. I knew who you were talking about. It's all good. The missing bag with a super chat. Thank you very much. Not just a football thing. They tried to trim the marching band to sell more tickets, not buy as many tickets for away games like Ohio State. Yeah. Always looking to pinch them pennies, baby. Matt, 2011 G. Why the F bring him in if you're not going to pay him?
Thank you.
Agree.
Thank you.
I agree. Beefeater 08, paying a buyout that is nearly four times greater than an SEC OC seems like a sucker's bet. However, the humiliation of passing is worth the $2.8 million. I just strong. You said something like this earlier. I'm going to strongly disagree with you on that.
Why do we keep comparing salary to buyout? Right. Apples to oranges. Well, what are you talking about?
I think he was referring to. I think the buyout for Jeff Lebby was a lot smaller. But can we be honest about something? Comparing Jeff Lebby to Andy Ludwig is a little bit out of there. To be honest with you, Jeff Lebby was an offensive coordinator at UCF for a year and an offensive coordinator at Ole Miss for 2 years. He was not even the play caller. Lane Kiffin was. Andy Ludwig has been doing this since 1998.
What are we talking about, man?
Jeff Lebby is not in the same universe as Andy Ludwig right now. So yeah, if you were going to do this buyout for if they were going to do a $2.8 million buyout for Colin Klein, I'd be like, hold the phone. Like, that's not even my top guy. Jeff Lebby wasn't even the play caller at Ole Miss. What are we doing here? He's 39 years old. Andy Ludwig has been coaching that long. So you're just comparing apples to oranges, man. And I don't understand that line of reasoning. It's just not the same thing. And the reality of the situation is, at this point in time, Sean, what are you trying to accomplish? Do you want to win or not? It's $2.8 million. As I said before, that's not chump change. And I people say, well, that's chump change for Notre Dame. No, it's not. I don't care what you are. You pay $2.8 million for something. It's $2.8 million. But for some people, it's something where like, yeah, okay, that's something, but it's worth it to me because I know the return I'm going to get on my investment. Right? That's the reality. There are some coaches where I'd say, bro, do not pay that $2.8 million. If Jeff Lebby cost me $2.8 million, I'm not paying it. Why? Because it's not the same coach. That's the reality of it. If Todd Monken required a $2.8 million buy it, I'm paying it. If Garrett Riley required that, I'm not paying it. It's a completely different thing. Completely different thing. So do you want to win or not? That's what it comes down to. Like I saw a tweet from former Notre Dame player on the night, and he was like saying it was a similar thing. Even some alums are feeling this way. And I don't get it. Do you want to win or not?
You talking about Jonas Gray?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm with the administration on this one. Like, dude.
Yep. So number one Notre Dame ND fans, the buzz around the Ludwig hire was huge, dude. Sean, the Notre Dame fans were so fired up today in the chat that they didn't even care about losing to Harry Hiestand. Like, really, because they were just so excited about Andy Ludwig. And then this is what you do.
It's like the reason his buyout was what it was high is because he's valued and proven. You pay for, you get what you pay for.
Yep.
He's valued and he's proven.
Yep.
So what? The average salary of the top assistant is $2 million. So what?
He made $820K last year, Sean, I believe is what his salary was. You were not going to pay him $2 to $3 million. But if you needed to, then do it. Because this is about winning. And that's where we're at.
Like I said, I had the pleasure one time, true story, Brian. I was downtown shopping while watching my wife and my mother shop on Michigan Avenue. We happened to be in a store, and I watched a famous person walk in, and I knew who he was. He walked in, said what he wanted, and he walked out. And as he walked out, I heard the salesman tell him, "Your stuff will be at your house tomorrow." He didn't pull out a card. I didn't see any transaction. He walked in, said what he wanted, and the people said, "Your stuff will be at your house tomorrow." It was like one of the ultimate flexes I've seen in my life. See, Notre Dame talks a flex game.
Yeah.
But when it's time to flex, they're all mouth.
Hey, Sean, they're that mouthy dude at the club that likes to run his mouth and act like he wants to fight.
Yes.
But you know he's running his mouth because he
Yes.
doesn't want to fight.
Yes.
You step to him,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, his girlfriend's pulling him back.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you can't move her to the side. I'm right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, she weighs $120.
Yeah.
You can't get past her?
Yeah.
No. You don't want to get past her. You want to hide behind her and run your mouth. You want to hide behind your boys and run your mouth. I'm right here.
Yeah. And
I'm right here.
What did Christian Gray say that Cam Hart told him? Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah. Yep.
That's my leadership. I'm gonna show you.
And this is what Notre Dame does.
That's all
Right?
they do.
This is what the
That's all
admin
they do.
does. No. We care about being great. We care about championships. We care about this. No, you don't. Because if you did, you'd do things a little differently. You wouldn't need me up here ranting and raving about not bringing in Andy Ludwig. You wouldn't need me up in here ranting and raving about not paying enough for your coaching staff or your analyst or your support staff or your mental health staff or your strength staff or your facilities and all this other kind of stuff. We're not getting into an arms race. Okay, then stop telling me you care about being a champion.
Absolutely.
I don't need you to build a slide in the dorms. I don't need you to build football in dorms. What I need you to do is make sure the football team has the things that they need to make sure that you're getting the absolute most out of your football players on and off the field. That's what I care about. I don't need a jungle gym like Clemson or whoever Georgia has. I don't need all that. I don't need 8 million video game things in the locker room. I don't need all that. But make sure the nutrition program is the best in the country. Make sure your mental health situation is the best in the country. Make sure the football coaches you are putting in charge of these young men's lives and futures are the best in the country. That I expect of you if you're Notre Dame. I don't care about NIL. I don't care about all this other nonsense. Not this nonsense people say, "Oh, Notre Dame's got to do this one." No, they don't. You know what they need to do? They need to make sure that whoever their head coach is has the absolute best coaching staff in the country. That you can afford. You just don't want to. Make sure they have the best nutrition program in the country. That you can afford. You just don't want to.
You don't want to.
Make sure they have the best analyst staff and medical staff and training staff in the country. They can do that. They choose not to. Do they do that for the business school?
Oh,
Do they bring in cheap, mediocre professors for the business school? I doubt it. Do they do that for the law school? I doubt it. Why are you doing that for the football team? So, yeah. We did get a couple more super chats popped up here in the end, Sean. We're gonna have to wrap these up here, folks, because
we can go all. We literally can go all night.
Joe Papiti said, "Wait, Brian, how many useless professors who teach ridiculous non-value adding classes are there at the school? Cut a few of those." I don't want to disrespect those people because I don't know the answer to that question. And I do know a couple professors, and they're good dudes and they're good people. And so I get where you're coming from. I do. I feel your pain, but that's not the answer. Like that's not where I'm going. They don't need to do that, though. They don't need to do that. CBAM says the struggle of a Notre Dame fan, the goodwill of football. Hey, CBAM, I appreciate your super chat, man. I really do. And then Fat Fish says another one, appreciate you as well. So you're saying they are the Fighting Irish. Yeah, they're not the Fighting Irish, not the leadership anyway. CBAM also says, do you know the revenue for Notre Dame in a year, Brian? School-wise, I don't know that off the top of my head. I really don't. I'd have to look into that. But trust me, money is not a problem for Notre Dame. Anyone who's ever been on campus on a game day knows that money is not a problem for Notre Dame. Mike Freno, our fellow Ohio State fan, I think we're going to wrap it up here. There was once a point in time. Oh, we actually got one more pop up. There was once a point in time where Ohio State said it wouldn't pay a head coach in $1 million. Last year, they had two different position coaches making on offense making $900,000 plus. Right, because what does Ohio State decide they want to do? They want to win. They're going to do what it takes to win. Last one here, folks. So if you're, please don't give any more super chats. We got to cut this thing out, and I want to make sure that I read them all. Beefeater says, my bad, Levy was the only comp I could find on short notice. Good news. God just told me Jenkins will get an atomic wedgie and fix this tomorrow. That'd be great. I would really, 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 really appreciate that. So,
oh man.
Yeah. All right, Sean, I appreciate you doing this. Sean and I were on the phone and we were like, should we go live? Should we do a chat? And he was like, Sean pauses is in ways that only Sean can do. Because you can just, I can hear his brain moving. He goes, yeah, let's do it. I was like, I'm going to pull a poll out. He goes, yeah, let's do it. So we knew we had to get here, man. We had to get here. So we appreciate you all being with us tonight very, very much. We will be back tomorrow. Sean, what time are you guys going live? Same time, 11:45
Same time
Eastern?
as always.
Okay.
And I'm dedicating the first 15 minutes to Malik.
Oh,
I'm just
I'll be
letting
tuning
him.
in.
I'm just letting him ride.
Everybody in Driscoll House, be quiet. I got Sean and Malik on, and Malik is about to do a signing. He's about to make his signing day rant look like tame. That's what you remember that one? Malik was calling cats terrorists, right? It's about to get, oh my goodness gracious. And then we'll be live at 1 o'clock tomorrow on the Irish Breakdown podcast. So 1 o'clock Eastern, we'll be going live as well. I'm going to give Ryan, I'm going to do for Ryan what you're going to do for Malik. I'm just going to let Ryan go for a little bit. I'm going to wind him up and let him go. Once we are done with that, we will dive into some candidates and talk about kind of where Notre Dame goes from here. Because we're going to vent, we're going to be pissed, and we're going to continue to hold the admin's feet to the fire, Sean. But there also comes a point in time where it's like, okay, so what's next? Let's talk about what's next. Because Marcus Freeman is not just going to piss and moan and say, well, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to cry. I'm going to take my ball and go home. Right. He's going to stand up and fight. I'm going to go get what I need to get. And so, look, that's what we're going to do, right? But we're going to get this out first, and then tomorrow we're going to take that next step. So that's where we're going to be. So, Sean, buddy, that's going to do it for tonight, man. I appreciate you being on with me very much. Appreciate all of you being here with us, folks. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this podcast, and give us, if you're listening via podcast app, we would greatly appreciate a 5-star review. And make sure you sign up for CFB Nation, because at the CFB Nation podcast app, Sean, that's where you can find the Lucky Lefty podcast, which is the Notre Dame channel for CFB Nation. You can also find the CFB All-America show and the State of Recruiting show with John Garcia Jr. And the Rising Draft Thursday night show, draft shows on there as well. And we're going to have some more stuff coming up on there soon as well. So for Sean, I'm Brian. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your night. We will talk to you again very, very soon at Lucky Lefty and on the Irish Breakdown podcast.